Chapter 30:24. But the problem now was that the second generation of the Sun family had already used up their own healing quota when they cultivated to the first level of perfection. As for the first generation of the Sun family, Old Man Sun, although he had already cultivated to the second level of perfection, he had already wasted one quota and only had one left. As for the third generation of the Sun family, Sun Ikai, he hadn't cultivated to the first level of perfection and couldn't treat others. As for Sun Jingyi, she had probably already wasted her quota when she treated Lin Yi. But what surprised little Yi was that Sun Jingyi had actually reached the second level. If she hadn't reached the second level, it would have been impossible for her to repair Lin Yi's meridians and dantian. Therefore, this was equivalent to walking into a dead end. Only Old Man Sun could treat Tagon Long, but he could only repair his external injuries and meridians. It was impossible for him to repair the dantian. However, the dantian couldn't be repaired. Even if Tagon Long woke up, it would be useless. Little E was incomparably conflicted after investigating this result. On the other hand, Little 11 seemed to have seen an introduction to the special practitioners of the Sun family in an evil ancient book about acupuncture. Little 11's heaven-grade weapon was a set of imitation 9 fushi needles. The real 9 fushi needles was used by Zhang Liju back then, but that set had disappeared along with Zhang Liju. As for the one in Little 11's hand, it was a genius blacksmith that appeared in the 5 Elements sect, and it was an imitation of the 9 fushi needles using similar materials. Therefore, Little 11 would naturally read some ancient books about acupuncture with the 9 fushi needles in hand. Thus, Little 11 found the ancient book again, and indeed found a secret method that could make the Sun family be used by Tagon Long. This secret method was actually used on a type of spirit beast that had already disappeared. Of course, if it was used on humans, the effect would be the same. It was just that no one had tried it before, so they didn't know what the consequences would be. Of course, since there was a way, he had to report it to the Xianqian ancestor and ask him to make a decision. Little E greets Master. After entering the Xianqian ancestor's room, Little E bowed respectfully. However, he discovered that Kong Ming Ming was also there. It seemed that the relationship between Kong Ming Ming and the Xianqian ancestor wasn't ordinary. Little one, how is it? How's the investigation of the Sun family? Patriarch Black Earth asked. The Sun family's matter has been investigated, but it's not optimistic. Little one said honestly, currently, the people in the Sun family who have the ability to heal Tagon Dragon have all been wasted. As he spoke, Little E explained the characteristics and situation of the Sun family's mental cultivation method in detail to Patriarch Xianqian. Oh, does that mean there's no hope for Tagon Dragon? Patriarch Xianqian raised his eyebrows, and his expression darkened. The Sun family doesn't have any side branches. Master, the number of people in the Sun family is small to begin with. Naturally, they don't have any collateral relatives. Some of them married out, but their descendants don't cultivate the Sun family's mental cultivation method. So we can only start with the Sun family's main branch. Little one said. However, Little 11 found a replacement mystic art from an ancient book. It can make the Sun family members who have lost their targets be used by Tagon dragons, stimulating the healing attributes in their bodies. Oh, can it be activated by force? Will this mystic art work? Patriarch Xianqian's eyes lit up as he asked. It should work, but it's very vicious. We need to use acupuncture to stimulate the potential in the Sun family members' bodies, but the consequences are unpredictable. This process is very painful. Perhaps after treating Tagon Dragon, they will become a cripple. Little one said, Oh, become a cripple? Will they die? Patriarch Xianqian pondered for a moment and asked, They probably won't die, but it's hard to say. After all, this mystic art is used on spirit beasts. If it's used on humans, it might have unexpected consequences. Little one said, Then Who in the Sun family is suitable to use this mystic art? Is it Old Man Sun or that Sun Jingy? Patriarch Xianchen asked. Both are fine, but Sun Jingy should be better, Little One said. Oh, how so? Patriarch Xianchen frowned slightly. This Sun Jingy is Lin Yi's woman, right? If we touch her, it seems to be against the rules. If Lin Yi finds out and tells Boss Bai, it will affect the overall plan. But Old Man Sun is old. I'm afraid he won't be able to hold on with this mystic art. It will be even more troublesome if he dies. Little One explained. Moreover, according to our investigation, Lin Yi hasn't been in East Ocean City recently. It should be fine if we do it secretly. Patriarch Xianchen nodded and looked at Kong Mingming. Xiaoming, what do you think? You know more about the mortal world. Is the relationship between Lin Yi and Sun Jingy that kind of boyfriend and girlfriend? This most likely. Kong Mingming didn't dare to lie about this matter. Although he wanted to deal with Lin Yi, he couldn't cause trouble for the Five Elements sect. The Five Elements sect was his foundation. If the Five Elements sect abandoned him, then he would be nothing. Therefore, he was also very cautious about this matter. But I remember that Master only promised Boss Bai not to cause trouble for his disciple and Lin Yi, right? Sun Jingy isn't his disciple, so we can just act like we don't know anything. Even if Boss Bai asks us to do something, we'll just pretend to be innocent and push the blame away. That's a good idea. Patriarch Xianchen nodded. Isn't it just acting shamelessly? However, he had to admit that sometimes acting shamelessly was the best way. Yes, Master, Junior Brother Xiaoming is right. As long as Boss Bai doesn't catch us on the spot and intervene, we can shirk responsibility afterward. Little One said. However, the possibility of Boss Bai going to the Sun family is almost zero. Even if Lin Yi goes, he won't be able to do anything. He won't be able to beat me at all, and if I go there myself, all he can do is stare at me. We'll just have to deny it afterwards, and this will be over. Oh, okay. Let's do it this way. You and Little 11 prepare to take Taganlong to East Ocean City and use this mystic art to activate Sun Jingy's healing target and heal Taganlong, Patriarch Xianchen said. However, we must be fully prepared and try to succeed. There aren't many chances. Taganlong is our only hope now. Chapter 30:25. When Patriarch Xianchen heard Lil Yi's question, although his face didn't change, he was extremely sad in his heart. It wasn't that he didn't want to investigate, but there was no clue to this matter. Patriarch Xianchen could think of only a few people who were more powerful than Old 6 and Old 7, and they had no reason to attack Old 6, Old 7, and Old 12. After all, the Five Elements sect's current enemy was only Lin Yi. However, it was impossible for Lin Yi to kill Old 6, Old 7, and Old 12. Even if Lin Yi was an expert at the early stage of Heaven Stage, Patriarch Xianchen believed that he could kill Old 12, but Old 6 and Old 7 were experts at the peak of the late stage of Heaven Stage. How could they die so easily? Don't worry about this matter. I know what I'm doing. Patriarch Xianchen waved his hand, indicating that Little Yi didn't need to worry about it. In his opinion, it was a waste of effort for Little Yi to investigate. Yes, Master. Little Yi retreated respectfully. Master, don't be too sad. People can't come back to life after they die. Aren't we still here? Kong Mingming comforted. That's true. Patriarch Xianchen nodded. By the way, Xiaoming, how are the preparations for your marriage with Little Peach? It's all right. Kong Mingming's heart ached. Do you really have to marry Little Peach? I don't even have any interest in sleeping with that kind of trash. Kong Mingming decided that he had to think of a way. He couldn't go on like this. He had to think of a way to refuse this marriage. Otherwise, his life would be ruined. Thinking of this, Kong Mingming quickly said, Master, I'll go find Little Peach to discuss the marriage. Okay, You go. Patriarch Xianchun waved his hand, indicating that Kong Mingming could leave. Little Peach received Kong Mingming's invitation and went to the appointment happily and excitedly. When she saw Kong Mingming, she immediately said happily, "Brother Kong, you were looking for me? Little Peach, I called you here to talk business." Kong Mingming really couldn't pretend anymore. Little Peach was no longer the personal maid of the heavenly silkworm transformation. She had lost her value. Kong Mingming thought about it and decided to tell the truth. Now that he was the disciple of Patriarch Xianchun, he could be considered an elder who relied on him. In the Heavenly Elixir sect, he did not need Little Peach to get close to the heavenly silkworm transformation. Is it about our wedding? Little Peach was still in the dark. Naturally, she did not know that Kong Mingming had been deceiving her all along. Marriage? Little Peach, tell me the truth. Do you really think I like you? Kong Mingming looked at Little Peach coldly and said, "To tell you the truth, I took a fancy to your identity as young sect Master Tian's personal maid. I just wanted to use you to get close to young sect Master Tian. However, you did not disappoint me. From you, I did get a lot of convenience to get close to young sect Master Tian, and I obtain a lot of benefits. You, Brother Kong." Little Peach looked at Kong Mingming in disbelief. She was so shocked that she could not speak. Her eyes were full of surprise and anger. She was used? She was just being used? All right, don't be delusional. Look at yourself. Moreover, we all know what kind of person young sect Master Tian is. You are his maid. I don't believe that he did not play with you. I don't like a woman like you at all. Kong Mingming snorted coldly and said, "Today, I'm laying all my cards on the table with you. If you know what's good for you, then break up with me peacefully. We won't interfere with each other. Otherwise, it will be easy for me to kill you. Don't forget my current identity. I am the disciple of Patriarch Xianchun. Even if I kill you, young sect Master Tian will not pursue the matter for Patriarch Xianchun's sake. Don't even think about telling this to young sect Master Tian and asking him to stand up for you. Once the matter of you helping me get in touch with young sect Master Tian through the back door is exposed, you will not have a good ending." Little Peach's tears flowed uncontrollably. She, who was innocent, did not expect Kong Mingming to be such a person. She had loved Kong Mingming with all her heart, but in exchange, this was the result. However, Little Peach also had a backbone. She was a maid of the Sky Silkworm transformation. She would not lose face for the Sky Silkworm transformation. Although she liked Kong Mingming in her heart, he did not want her at all. He had never liked her at all. What was there for her to pester? Don't worry, Brother Kong. I won't pester you. I understand. You can go. Little Peach wiped her tears, gritted her teeth, and said, "This is the last time I will call you Brother Kong. From now on, you will be Elder Kong." Not bad. At least you know your place. Kong Mingming saw Little Peach's attitude and finally breathed a sigh of relief. He said, "But don't worry, I will introduce you to a boyfriend and find you a good partner. I have a cousin who likes to pick up used shoes. My last girlfriend was picked up by him. I will introduce you to him. He is doing well, and it will be a good way for you to follow him. But the premise is that you must tell the public that we broke up peacefully." "Thank you. You don't need to worry about my matters." Little Peach shook her head and said, "Elder Kong, if there is nothing else, I will leave." Then you can go. I won't see you off. We are still friends." Kong Mingming finally breathed a sigh of relief. He thought to himself, "I finally got rid of this ugly monster." Little Peach wiped away her tears and returned to the Sky Silkworm Transformations residence. These few days were the time for Little Peach and Chen-Shi to take over. Little Peach had to tell Chen-Shi some of the Sky Silkworm Transformations preferences and things to pay attention to. "Little Peach, Kong Mingming wants to discuss marriage with you, right? How is it? Have you decided on a date?" Silkworm transformation? Asked Little Peach. To be honest, Tian Chan was not optimistic about Kong Ming Ming. Kong Ming Ming was too evil, and he was Lin Yi's enemy. As Tian Chan's personal maid, Little Peach naturally hoped that she would have a good partner. To be honest, it was a waste to marry Kong Ming Ming. However, Little Peach liked Kong Ming Ming, so Tian Chan could not interfere. She could only silently bless and support her. Young master, we broke up, Little Peach said, pretending to be calm. Broke up? What happened? Tian Chan was stunned. She was a little shocked. Little Peach, why did you break up with Kong Ming Ming? Did he propose it? No, we broke up peacefully. We felt that we were not suitable for each other. So, we broke up. Little Peach's eyes were red, but she still pretended to be calm. Chapter 30:26. Today's chapters are plot twists, so they were written slowly. I have to revise and revise them. It's only now completed. Summon the monthly ticket. No, it's okay. Little Peach shook her head and said, Young master, we really broke up peacefully. Really? All right, I'll call Kong Xiaoming over for a confrontation. I want to see what tricks you are playing. Tian Chan said coldly. Don't. Young master, I will tell the truth. Please don't pursue it, okay? Little Peach was shocked and said quickly, Tell me, I will see the situation. Tian Chan said lightly, It's like this. Little Peach naturally did not dare to hide anything from Tian Chan, so she told her about Kong Ming Ming. Tian Chan frowned as she listened. She cursed Kong Ming Ming in her heart. This person was not a good person and was ungrateful. But there was no other way. Tian Chan did not want to offend Ancestor Xianxian because of this. After all, Kong Ming Ming was the disciple of Ancestor Xianxian, and he was the only person in the heavenly elixir sect who could refine the bone and marrow cleansing pill. If it was not a big deal, Tian Chan really could not punish him. But at the same time, Tian Chan was a little glad. She did not want Little Peach and Kong Ming Ming to be together, but Little Peach liked Kong Ming Ming wholeheartedly, so she could not stop her. It was better to break up now. So she said, Little Peach, break up is break up. Then you can continue to follow me. Ah, young master, don't you have Tian Shi by your side? Little Peach was slightly stunned. Tian Shi, the main thing is to practice. You will be responsible for some trivial things. Tian Chan said, I will help you announce the cancellation of your marriage with Kong Ming Ming in a while. You don't have to worry about this anymore. Ah, thank you, young sect master. Little Peach was very grateful. She was even more devoted to Tian Chan. At the same time, she felt that she was too stupid to actually believe Kong Ming Ming's words. Therefore, Kong Ming Ming and Little Peach dissolved the engagement peacefully. Patriarch Xianxian only asked about it, but Kong Ming Ming said it vaguely, so he didn't ask further. He didn't care about these things, and he didn't think it was shameful to go back on one's word. Little One and Little 11 were almost ready. They packed up and went to East Ocean City. The Sun family was located in a small city not far from East Ocean City, and they had to transfer at East Ocean City. Little One and Little 11 did not drive too fast. After all, there was an injured person in the car. Although this injured person used to be a cultivator, he was now terminally ill and could not withstand the torment. Little One was really afraid that he would die from the bumps on the road. Finally, after a long journey of dozens of hours, Little One parked the car at the entrance of the Sun family's villa. Is this the secular Sun family? Little One asked after getting out of the car. The secular Sun family was also a famous family in the local area, especially after joining Lin Yi's Cultivator Association. Their status had increased. Now, even the hidden families didn't dare to do anything to the Sun family. As a result, old Master Sun's arrogant temper was cultivated. How could he let it go when he heard someone shouting at the door? Therefore, Old Master Sun said to Sun Ikai's father, Sun Gangjin, Gangjin, go out and see who dares to shout at our Sun family's door? Do you want to die? Yes, father. Sun Gangjin nodded and strode out of the Sun family. When he came to the door, he saw a young man in his 30s standing at the door and shouting. Sun Gangjin sneered and said, Since you know this is the secular Sun family, why are you still making a fuss here? Do you want to die? Is Sun Jingyi here? Little one didn't want to talk nonsense with Sun Gangjin at all. In his eyes, Sun Gangjin was an ant-like existence. Even saying one more word was a waste of breath. If not for Patriarch Xuanqin's instructions, no one from the Sun family could die, lest Lin Yi and Boss Bai be displeased. Who are you? Coming to my Sun family to behave atrociously? Sun Jingyi is the wife of Lin Yi, the president of the Cultivator Association. How can you call her by her name? Sun Gangjin pointed at Little One and said angrily, Shut up, go to hell. Before Little One could say anything, Little 11, who had just gotten out of the car, became impatient. With a wave of his hand, a strong wind swept past. Sun Gangjin immediately screamed and fell to the ground, blood flowing out of his mouth. Little junior sister, don't kill him. Little One was shocked and hurriedly reminded her, Don't worry, he won't die. He's just crippled. Little 11 said indifferently, Let's go. Since this person doesn't want to say, then let's go in and find him. Stop talking so much nonsense. It's annoying. After saying that, Little 11 stepped out and directly stepped on Sun Gangjin's chest. Sun Gangjin once again let out a blood-curdling scream. His eyes rolled back, and he directly fainted. If there was no medicine like the Great Recover Pill, then Sun Gangjin obviously wouldn't be able to live because he couldn't heal himself. As for the people of the Sun family, unless Old Man Sun took action, even if he recovered, he would still be a cripple. Although Little One was also very vicious at this moment, seeing Little 11's ruthlessness, he also felt that he was inferior. His junior sister was really too ruthless. She made someone like this and still wanted to step on him. Sun Gangjin's screams naturally attracted the attention of the Sun family. Old Man Sun subconsciously felt that something was wrong, so he ran to the door with Sun Jingyi. However, in his opinion, if he mentioned Lin Yi's name, the other party should be more restrained. After all, Lin Yi's name was now well known in the hidden families, and many people even knew about the ancient level. However, before Old Man Sun and Sun Jingyi could go out, Little One and Little 11 welcomed them. Seeing Sun Jingyi, Little 11's eyes lit up. He directly said to Little One, Eldest senior brother, you go take care of that old thing. I'll deal with Sun Jingyi. Okay. For Little One, taking care of Old Man Sun was as easy as lifting a finger. He casually waved his hand, and Old Man Sun fainted without even saying a word. As for the other servants of the Sun family, when they saw that the newcomers were so tyrannical, they did not dare to make a sound, and subconsciously hid. Although the Sun family was also a cultivation family, they were different from ordinary cultivators. There were no powerful cultivators here. Of course, even if there were, they would definitely not be a match for Little One and Little 11. What level of experts were these two people at? If it was not for the fact that Patriarch Xuanqin felt that tag-on-long was too important, he would not have sent Little One personally. Why use a butcher's knife to kill a chicken? To deal with the secular Sun family, Little 10 and Little 11 could go together. However, Patriarch Xuanqin was afraid that there would be accidents, so he sent Little One. Chapter 30:27. Back then, Lin Yi almost died under their hands. Although Lin Yi's current strength was not what it used to be, he still had no chance of winning against Little Yi. Therefore, Sun Jingyi was shocked. She did not understand why they came to the Sun family to cause trouble. Sun Jingyi, right? We meet again. Little 11 looked at Sun Jingyi, and a cold look flashed in her eyes. She hated women who were prettier than her the most, and Sun Jingyi was one of them. She especially liked to torture these beautiful women. She had the same thought for Han Jingjing last time. What do you want? Didn't Lin Yi have an agreement with you? You can't do anything to us anymore. Although Sun Jingyi knew that they did not come with good intentions, she still reminded them. Agreement? That's right, we didn't touch Lin Yi, but you don't belong to the scope of the agreement. Little 11 looked at Sun Jingyi and smiled cruelly. However, if you cooperate with me to do one thing, then I can spare your life. Otherwise, I will let you die a horrible death, then strip your clothes and hang your body at the door of the Sun family. I will make Lin Yi lose face. Little 11's words were vicious. After she said this, Sun Jingyi had to cooperate no matter what. Otherwise, it would not matter if she died, but it would also cause Lin Yi to lose face. Sun Jingyi's expression suddenly changed. Although she was very angry, she still asked, "What do you want me to do? Help me treat someone." Little 11 waved her hand and gestured for Little E to carry Tagon Long into the yard. Little E quickly carried Tagon Long's stretcher over and placed it on the ground. This is impossible. The Sun family's mental cultivation method can only treat one person. Once the target is activated, it is irreversible. I have already treated Lin Yi, so it is impossible to treat others. Sun Jingyi said, Hee, under normal circumstances, it's naturally impossible, but have you heard of a special method? It can forcibly activate the healing ability of your Sun family members, and it won't be limited by the target. 11th said. After listening to Little 11's words, Sun Jingyi trembled. Obviously, she knew about this method, but she didn't know how Little 11 knew about it. Why should I cooperate with you? That method is worse than death for me. Although this method of forcibly activating the healing ability was vicious, Sun Jingyi had to be willing to cooperate with the Sun family's chant. Otherwise, there would be no effect. So if Sun Jingyi didn't agree, it would be useless to kill her. Oh, so you're saying that you're prepared to die naked? 11's expression turned cold as he asked, Lin Yi and I just like each other. We haven't confirmed our relationship, and others don't know our relationship. If you do this, it will only embarrass the Sun family. It has nothing to do with Lin Yi, Sun Jingyi said coldly. 11's method was very vicious, making people feel worse than death. Although Sun Jingyi hadn't seen it, she had heard people talk about it. Therefore, Sun Jingyi would rather die than bear that kind of pain. It wasn't something an ordinary person could bear. Oh. 11's expression became gloomy. She didn't expect Sun Jingyi to refuse. She had already threatened Sun Jingyi before, and Sun Jingyi gave in. Now that she suddenly changed her mind, it was enough to prove how painful the secret method was. However, the more painful it was, the more 11th liked it. Even if it wasn't to save Tagon Long, she would probably find a chance to try this cruel method. Therefore, 11th said coldly, Okay, in that case, eldest senior brother, if she doesn't want to, you can go and kill Lin Yi. Anyway, Lin Yi is outside now, and he won't even know how he died. If we don't admit it, Boss Bai can't do anything about it. Okay, junior sister. Little one knew that 11th was scaring Sun Jingyi, so she nodded cooperatively and turned to leave. 11th, on the other hand, spoke to Jingyi at the same time. Since you're of no use to us, then die. No. Sun Jingyi screamed, subconsciously. 11th's viciousness forced her to compromise. Her chest heaved up and down, and she was obviously very angry. I promise you, don't look for trouble with Lin Yi. Humph. Why didn't you say that earlier? You won't give up until you see the coffin. 11th said coldly and sarcastically, However, whether you can kill Lin Yi or not depends on how well you cooperate. Okay, I'll cooperate. Sun Jingyi nodded, and a hint of determination flashed in her eyes. In the Woolen Hate Mountains, Lin Yi almost sacrificed his life to protect her. Why couldn't Sun Jingyi do the same? Very well, eldest senior brother, pick up Taganlong's hands. I'm going to perform acupuncture, 11th said to Little One. Little One nodded, thinking that sometimes being ruthless was very useful. Didn't son Jingyi obediently compromise in the end? He picked up Taganlong's hands and raised them up. Put your hands on them. Little One ordered Sun Jingyi. Sun Jingyi was already prepared to die. She obeyed and mechanically placed her hands on Taganlong's hands. Like this? Little One didn't answer. What he replied to Sun Jingyi was a few silver needles. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The silver needles pierced through Sun Jingyi's acupoints on her 10 fingers and directly connected with the acupoints on Taganlong's hands. Ouch! Sun Jingyi was in so much pain that tears almost came out. Her body trembled slightly. Why was it so painful? Although the 10 fingers were connected to the heart, Sun Jingyi was also a strong-willed person. However, this kind of pain made her tremble. What Sun Jingyi didn't know was that 11th had added a special mental cultivation method to the silver needles. This was a secret technique. He hadn't used it yet, but the pain was already unbearable. Bear with it, you stinking bee, *Tisich. If you scream again, I'll pierce your eye sockets. 11th fiercely threw out a few more silver needles and directly pierced a few acupoints on Sun Jingyi's body. Sun Jingyi shivered in pain. She held back her tears, but for Lin Yi, she gritted her teeth. It had to be said that 11th's threat was quite effective on her. This was because, in Sun Jingyi's opinion, Little One and Little 11 really had the ability and motive to kill Lin Yi. Last time, if Boss Bai hadn't interfered, Lin Yi would probably have. And this time, without Boss Bai by her side, Sun Jingyi could only choose to compromise. All right, now start circulating your mental cultivation method. Together with the mental cultivation method, I'm going to apply the needles, 11th said coldly. Chapter 30:28. With the circulation of Sun Jingyi's mental cultivation method, Little 11 pierced a silver needle into the meridians in Sun Jingyi's chest. Ah! Jingyi couldn't help but cry out in pain. In that instant, Jingyi felt as if the energy in her body was boiling, and she was no longer under the guidance and control of her practitioner's arts. Sun Jingyi subconsciously stopped the circulation of the mental cultivation method, but this did not matter. The silver needle in Sun Jingyi's chest also directly bounced out. Little 11 was concentrating on the acupuncture, so he did not pay attention to it. The silver needle directly shot into Little 11's arm, immediately cutting a wound on Little 11's arm. *CK your mother, bitch. Little 11 was instantly angry. She kicked at Sun Jingyi, and it happened to hit Sun Jingyi's lower abdomen. Sun Jingyi screamed in pain and knelt on the ground unnaturally. However, Little 11 was not satisfied. She kicked at Sun Jingyi's chest. You mother of cur! How dare you stab me? I'll kick your boobs until they burst. It had to be said that Little 11 was very vicious. She was also a woman, so she knew which parts of a woman were more vulnerable. She was stabbed by Sun Jingyi, so she crazily retaliated against Sun Jingyi. That's enough, junior sister. Let's get down to business. Don't kill her. Little One frowned and had to stop Little 11 from continuing. If she kicked Sun Jingyi to death, what would happen to Taganlong? Humph. Only then did Little 11 stop. However, when she saw that Sun Jingyi was still lying on the ground, she could not help but kick her again. Hurry up and get up. I didn't use my true energy just now. Don't pretend to be dead. Sun Jingyi was not a cultivator and did not have true energy to protect her body. It could only be said that her body was slightly stronger than ordinary people, but even so, blood still flowed from the corner of her mouth after being kicked by Little 11. She climbed up from the ground with great difficulty. The silver needle connected to Taganlong in Sun Jingyi's hand had already fallen. Little 11 unceremoniously pulled Sun Jingyi's hand over and directly connected the silver needle to Taganlong's hand. Taganlong was unconscious and did not feel anything, but Sun Jingyi was very sad, especially when little 11 twisted the silver needle on Sun Jingyi's finger back and forth. This way, Sun Jingyi was in even more pain. However, with the previous lesson, even if Sun Jingyi was in pain, she could only grit her teeth and hold on. Thinking of Han Jingjing's miserable appearance, Sun Jingyi lamented. It seemed that she could not live in one piece after falling into little 11's hands. However, for Lin Yi's sake, Sun Jingyi had to endure it. She endured the pain and began to circulate the mantra again. As little one's silver needle was inserted into Sun Jingyi's chest again, Sun Jingyi screamed, but she did not dare to stop the circulation of the mantra. Go F***CK yourself. Little 11 slapped Jingyi's face with his palm, and the sound of a slap rang out. Sun Jingyi took the slap, but she did not dare to make a sound, nor did she dare to resist. She did not even dare to stop the circulation of the mantra. Otherwise, what awaited her would be an even more serious beating. All right, junior sister, let's get down to business. If you hit her like this, if she stops the circulation of the mantra, we will have to start all over again. Little 11 dissuaded. Little 11 nodded. How could she not know this? However, she hit Sun Jingyi entirely out of instinctive jealousy. She was jealous that Sun Jingyi was prettier and had a better figure than her. She wanted to torture Sun Jingyi and torture Sun Jingyi to death. But thinking of her father's plan, little 11 continued to insert the needles, ignoring Sun Jingyi's screams. Instead, she inserted the silver needles into Sun Jingyi's body one after another. Every time she inserted the silver needles, Sun Jingyi screamed. Sun Jingyi only felt that the vital energy in her body was not under her control at all. Instead, it was circulating according to little 11's acupuncture. Suddenly, Sun Jingyi felt that the vital energy in her body seemed to be pulled out by a strong force from her palm and transported to the Tagan Dragon's body. In theory, the vital energy in Sun Jingyi's body could not be used by Tagan Dragon. However, under little 11's guidance, it could enter the Tagan Dragon's body. This surprised Sun Jingyi and made the pain of the night wind feel as if a part of her body was being stripped out. Sun Jingyi's face paled instantly and her body trembled uncontrollably. It was as if she was on the verge of death, but little 11's needles didn't show any signs of stopping. He continued to move the needles around Sun Jingyi's body, his hands moving all over her body. Taganlong's pale face, on the other hand, was slowly turning red. Jingyi's pure energy was clearly working on him. Seeing this situation, a smile appeared on the corner of little 11's mouth. She encouraged little 11. Junior sister, continue to work hard. The Tagan Dragon is getting better. Little 11 nodded. She could not care less about torturing Sun Jingyi at this moment. Compared to her, the Tagan Dragon was more important. However, even if she was not deliberately torturing Sun Jingyi was already in great pain. The pain brought about by this secret technique was inhuman torture. One could imagine what it felt like to have all the blood in a person's body drawn out. Sun Jingyi felt as if the blood in her body was being drawn out. While she was in pain, her life seemed to be gradually fading away. Little 11 glanced at Sun Jingyi. She was afraid that she could not hold on any longer, so she said to little 1, eldest senior brother, give her the energy recovery pill and the small rejuvenation pill. Okay. Little 1 quickly took out a bottle, poured out 2 pills, and stuffed them directly into Sun Jingyi's mouth. The whole process of activating the healing pill would last 4 to 5 hours. If Sun Jingyi died in the middle of it, all the previous efforts would be wasted. Little 1 and little 11 only knocked out the important figures of House Sun, but the servants of House Sun did not care. In their eyes, these people were worse than ants. They were microbes, and killing them would dirty their hands. However, there was a core servant of House Sun who knew Wu Qintian's phone number. So, after Hao's son was in trouble, he called Wu Qintian's number. Hello? Hello, I'm Wu Qintian. Who are you looking for? It was an unfamiliar number, so Wu Qintian asked politely after picking up the phone. Chapter 30:29. Who are you? Qintian asked curiously. Mr. Wu, I'm Hao's son's housekeeper, Sun Hupa. Hao's son is in trouble. 2 masters came out of nowhere and injured young Master Sun and knocked out Hao's son's head. They're doing something to Miss Sun Jingyi. I think they're forcing her to heal one of them. Steward Sun explained the situation to Qintian. Qintian panicked. He didn't know if Sun Jingyi's arts could be forcefully used to heal others, but it seemed like Sun Jingyi's life was in danger. He could hear Sun Jingyi's screams through the phone. I'll be right there, Qintian said quickly. Wait, Mr. Wu. These 2 people seem to be heaven stage experts. Steward Sun was a cultivator, and also cultivated some real mental cultivation methods. He was not a member of the Sun family, so he did not cultivate the Sun family's mental cultivation methods. But when Little 1 and Little 11 fought, he was quite far away and could only roughly judge that they were heaven-rank powerhouses. What? Are they all heaven-stage experts? Qintian was startled. He wanted to save Sun Jingyi by himself, but he was stunned when he heard that they were Sky Class. He had just reached Earth Class late phase peak not long ago, and he was full of confidence. Steward Sun's words were like a bucket of cold water splashed on him, making him realize that he wasn't a match for them. He had to ask for help, but who could he ask for help from? Lin Yi was far away in Star Mountain Village, and Old Pai and Old Zhuang weren't nearby. It would take some time for them to get to Sun Jingyi's town, so Qintian could only inform them first and head there himself. With that thought, Qintian called Old Pai and Old Zhuang, telling them to go help. He then called Lin Yi. Qintian, what's wrong? Lin Yi didn't expect something to happen to his family. He picked up the phone and asked casually, Boss, it's bad. Something happened. Qintian said urgently, Boss, Hao's son is surrounded by 2 Sky Class masters, and Sun Jingyi's life is in danger. I need to get there immediately. You need to come back too, Boss. What? Sky Class? 2? Lin Yi's heart skipped a beat. This definitely wasn't done by the hidden sections. There were limited Sky Class masters in the hidden sects, and House Xiao was done for. Only Old Yu and Old Yu weren't on his side, but these 2 had no reason to do anything to Sun Jingyi. House Yu helped Lin Yi a few days ago, so there was no reason for them to attack. As for House Yu, even if they didn't want to attack Lin Yi, why would they attack Sun Jingyi? Not only would it not be of any use, it wouldn't be able to vent their anger, and it would attract even more revenge from Lin Yi. The first thing Lin Yi would do when he came back would be to destroy the hidden House Yu. From what happened with the hidden House Xiao, it could be seen that Old Yu was different from Old Xiao. He wasn't a stubborn person, and he knew when to bow down to Lin Yi. From this point, it was impossible for Old Yu to do it. But other than the hidden House Yu and House Yu, who else could send 2 Sky Class masters? Could it be the ancient level? But why would the ancient level attack a common house? There was no reason at all. It wasn't that Lin Yi didn't think about the 5-element sect, but when Little 1 and Little 11 came last time, they let Sun Jingyi go and didn't attack her. One could imagine that Sun Jingyi was just a small fry in their eyes, and there was no need for her to come to Donghai City to cause trouble for House Sunday. So Lin Yi couldn't figure out where this enemy came from at all. But the more it was like this, the more worried Lin Yi was. That's right, boss, the housekeeper of House Sun didn't say how strong they are, so I can only go and see. I'll go now, Qintian said, as he ran out of the villa, not even having the time to send a message to Meng Yao and Yushu, who were in school. Okay, be careful. I'll go now. Lin Yi said immediately, if Jingyi's life isn't in danger, don't do anything. You can't handle a Sky Class master. Okay, boss. Chintian replied. He walked out the door and was about to get in the car when he saw Hu Mingyun sitting not far away. Chintian's eyes lit up. Wasn't there a ready-made heaven-ranked fighter? With that thought, Chintian quickly waved at Hu Mingyun. Hey, Hu Mingyun, right? Yeah. Wu bro, what's up? Hu Mingyun was bored, out of his wits these past few days. The chi here was very thin and he couldn't train and no one talked to him. He was bored out of his wits, but he didn't dare disrespect Lin Yi's family and friends. He could only draw circles on the ground out of boredom. As for Chintian, he already knew who he was. He was just a disciple of House Wu, but he'd been with Lin Yi for a long time. If he were to call Lin Yi his boss like Tuoba, it'd be normal for him to call Chintian Wu bro, boss's woman Sun Jingyi is in trouble. Do you want to go with me? Chintian asked. Sure. Let's go. Hu Mingyun was bored out of his mind, especially since he could help Lin Yi. Naturally, he wouldn't decline. Only by building a good relationship with Lin Yi could he take revenge on the everyday sect. Hu Mingyun patted his butt and got in Chintian's car, speeding towards House Sun City. Lin Yi, on the other hand, said goodbye to old Lin after hanging up the phone, got on the purple lightning beast, and sped off in the direction of House Sun. It was a good thing that Lin Yi had brought the purple thunderbolt beast with him this time. Otherwise, who knew how long it would take to get to House Sunday? The purple thunderbolt beast, on the other hand, was an Earth-class late-phase peak. Its speed was faster, but Lin Yi was still worried. Little phone. Hurry up, time is of the essence. Although they were already very fast, Lin Yi still patted the purple electric beast and urged, Roar. The purple lightning beast seemed to have sensed the danger and used all its strength to run. It was even faster than when it came. Chapter 30:30. From the looks of it, the speed of the purple electric tempest beast was fixed. From this, it could be seen that its physical strength was fixed as well. The more it used in the beginning, the less it used in the later stages. It was the same as an ordinary person. When it erupted, it would only last for a short period of time. Xiao Feng, are you running out of qi? Lin Yi suddenly thought of a possibility, so he quickly asked, Roar, roar. The purple electric beast heard Lin Yi's words and quickly nodded to show that it was true. Okay, then I'll help you replenish it. Lin Yi confirmed his idea. He placed his hands on the purple electric beast's body and then began to circulate the third stage of the art of dragon mastery that he had just learned, but wasn't particularly familiar with. Although Lin Yi still couldn't master the third stage of the mantra, even so, the difference between the third stage and the second stage was like heaven and earth. Now, he could already surpass the state of the second stage. Whether it was the amount of qi transferred or the speed, it was a notch higher. Lin Yi didn't use the heavenly spring rain martial arts technique. Instead, he directly chose to use the third stage of the art of dragon mastery to transfer qi. This was also because spiritual beasts and cultivators were different. When Tian Chan didn't use the mantra, Lin Yi couldn't transfer qi to her. He could only heal her injuries. But spiritual beasts were different. They didn't have mantras and automatically absorbed qi. Therefore, Lin Yi wanted to try whether it was feasible when it was moving. After all, after using the heavenly spring rain, it would really consume Lin Yi's own qi. If he encountered an enemy during this period, Lin Yi would be at a disadvantage. But the art of dragon mastery was different. Lin Yi only played the role of a conductor, transforming the endless energy in the space of the jade, and then transferring it to the purple electric beast. It didn't affect Lin Yi's own strength at all. With the third stage of Lin Yi's art of dragon mastery, endless energy was transferred to the purple electric beast's body. The purple electric beast quickly recovered its qi and increased its speed to the limit again. Roar, roar, the purple electric tempest beast only felt that its entire body was filled with inexhaustible strength. Lin Yi heaved a sigh of relief when he saw that the purple electric tempest beast's speed had recovered. At its current speed, it would probably take another 2 hours or so to reach the Sun residence. Since the purple thunderbolt beast was traveling in a straight line, it didn't care if there was a road in front of it. Even if there were mountains, rivers, or houses, it would still be able to fly over them. The purple thunderbolt beast's qigong was quite impressive. Chen Tian brought Hui Yanyan to House Sun, and before the car even got close, they heard Sun Jingyi's screams. In this area, House Sun had its own house, and there were no other families nearby. So no matter how much Sun Jingyi screamed, no one would be able to hear it. Sun Jingyi's screams tugged at Chen Tian's heartstrings. Although he had given up on pursuing Sun Jingyi, he still liked Sun Jingyi. Now that she was with Lin Yi, Chen Tian could only pray silently and give up on this thought. But Sun Jingyi's screams still made his eyes turn red, and his rage soared. Whether it was the person he loved or his sister-in-law, they were both being tortured. Chen Tian couldn't take it anymore. Just when Chen Tian stopped the car and was about to get off, Hui Yanyan, who was sitting in the passenger seat, grabbed his arm. "Don't be rash. There's a Sky-class early-phase peak and a Sky-class late-phase peak. I'm not their match." Hui Yanyan shook his head. "What? There's a Sky-class late-phase peak?" Chen Tian jumped in fright. From what he could see, the two Sky-class Master Steward's son was talking about were, at most, early phase or early phase peak, and Huayan was a late phase Sky class that was more than enough to deal with. Even Elder Pai and Elder Zhuang wouldn't be able to do much, but what he didn't expect was that even a Sky class late phase peak would show up. Hui Yanyan was a Sky class late phase peak, and Yushu couldn't see through his strength at all. She only told Lin Yi that he was Sky class late phase peak, but that wasn't the case. "That's right. I'll probably get beaten up if I go in." Hui Yanyan was hesitant. He was here to ask for Lin Yi's help. He didn't want to lose his life before he could help. Most importantly, Lin Yi hadn't said anything yet. And if he went in and helped like an idiot, what if he died? Wouldn't he die for nothing? With that thought, Hui Yanyan really didn't know if he should go in or not. "We still have to go in. If we don't, what about Jingyi?" Chen Tian was panicking. "Don't stop me if you're afraid of death." "Wu bro, don't be rash." Hui Yanyan patted Chen Tian's shoulder. "Going in blindly will only get us killed. We need to think of a plan. You don't want Miss Sun to be in trouble if we die, do you?" Chen Tian paused, his expression returning to normal. The panic on his face was suppressed as well. Yes, Linny did tell him to be careful on the phone, that he wasn't their match, and that if Sun Jingyi's life wasn't in danger, then he shouldn't act rashly. "Wu bro, should we make a plan?" Hua Yanyan was thinking of calling Tua Yanwang and asking him what he thought. Tua Yanwang was closer to Lin Yi than he was, so at least Tua Yanwang wouldn't screw him over. "I'll call boss first." Chen Tian nodded and dialed Lin Yi's number. "Chen Tian, what's the situation?" Lin Yi wanted to call Chen Tian as well, but he was afraid that Chen Tian was already fighting with the two masters from House Sun, and calling would affect him. "Boss, I'm here. Sister-in-law's screaming is making my heart explode." Hui Yanyan is here too, but he said that Lin Yi has a Sky-class early phase peak and a Sky-class late phase peak. He's the one at Sky-class late phase. We're not his match. Chen Tian said bitterly. "Sky-class late phase peak?" Lin Yi was in a dilemma after hearing Chen Tian's words. Why would a Sky-class late phase peak go to House Sun? What were they trying to do? After a while, Lin Yi asked Chen Tian, "Is Jingyi in danger?" Chapter 3031. It's at 190 votes. I'll add more tomorrow. Summon monthly votes. If that's the case, then don't risk your lives and charge in. You're no match for them. Wait for me. To be honest, Lin Yi didn't have the slightest confidence when he said those words. After all, the opponent was a Sky-class late phase peak master. But no matter what, Lin Yi could only brace himself and charge forward. Then, okay, Chen Tian still had to listen to Lin Yi. He knew that he wasn't a match for these people. At the same time, Firecloud got out of the car and called Tuaba. Firecloud, why did you call me? Didn't you go to Boss Linny? How is it? Did he agree to help you deal with the everyday? An everyday sect? Tuaba quickly asked. Overlord, let's not talk about this for now. I've encountered some trouble, and I can't make a decision. Help me out. Flaming Firecloud quickly told Earth Overlord about his troubles in detail as he spoke. Oh, Tuaba hesitated after hearing Firecloud's words, but after a while, Tuaba persuaded. Firecloud, from my perspective, I naturally want you to help Boss Lin E. But as a friend, I hope that you do what you can and don't hurt yourself. It doesn't matter if you're injured. As long as you're still breathing, Boss can help you recover. Recover? Really? Firecloud paused. As long as I'm not dead, I can recover? Haha, I won't hide it from you. Back then, my injuries were extremely serious, and I was unconscious. It was Boss Lin E who directly healed me, and now I'm jumping around like a normal person. Tu Junwang said. Haha, I'll be honest with you. So you're saying that Yang Shuaishan can be saved? Firecloud paused. Yang Shuaishan? Didn't he die a long time ago? The dead can't be revived. Tuaba paused as well. He's not completely dead. A few days ago, Heavenly Elixir Sect sent Yang Shuaishan's corpse back, still breathing, so my grandpa sealed him in a cave in Fiery Mountain. He won't die for now, but he won't be able to live either. Firecloud said, corpses can be sent back. Toba paused. It turned out that this matter was thanks to the ghostly thing in Lin Yi's jade pendant. After the ghostly thing shocked the Five Evils dragon, the Five Evils dragon thought of doing a good deed. He ordered his spiritual beasts to send all the corpses that had died in the trial, but had not been eaten yet, to the Five Evils mountain ranges teleportation formation, back to Heavenly Elixir Sect. Heavenly Elixir Sect received these corpses and naturally sent them back according to their respective sections. Because Yang Shuaishan cultivated the fire attribute, after returning to Fiery Mountain, the last bit of potential in his body was stimulated. His desire to live gave him a glimmer of hope, but he definitely couldn't be saved. Yang Shuaishan's grandpa was still unwilling to give up, so he placed Yang Shuaishan's corpse in a cave in Fiery Mountain Range. This was the place where the inheritor received the inheritance, but it could also allow the fire attribute cultivator to maintain his life after being seriously injured. Although Firecloud didn't know why Yang Shuaishan was sent back, he told Tuaba about Yang Shuaishan's signs of life. How can he be saved? Boss Lin, he can save him. Tuaba said. What? Are you serious? You can do that? Firecloud was shocked. Holy shit, he's that strong? If that's the case, what do I have to be afraid of? I'm going to charge. Don't just charge blindly. Tuaba was speechless. Just cooperate with Boss Lin E. Ask him what to do. All right, I'll go now. Firecloud quickly got in the car and was about to talk to Lin E through Chintian, but Chintian had already hung up. He quickly asked, what did Boss Lin E say? Firecloud heard about how strong Lin E was, so naturally he called Lin E boss as well. After all, Lin E was just too strong, and Firecloud felt that he had to call Lin E boss. Boss said to wait for a while. As long as Jingyi isn't in danger, we won't do anything. Chuntian said to Firecloud. Okay, when will Boss come? Firecloud asked. Should be soon. Chuntian was also very anxious. Logically speaking, with 11 and 11 strength, they should be able to sense two people appearing near House Sun, but 11's attention was on Sun Jingyi, and Yi's was on Tagan Dragon. Tagan Dragon started to recover slowly, with Sun Jingyi's screams. This made Yi, who was observing from the side, sigh in relief. He could finally report to the Xianqian Elder. If Tagan Dragon recovered, the Elder would probably be very happy, right? 11. Try harder. It should be about time. He said, okay, big brother, but this little girl's situation isn't looking good. She can't hold on much longer. 11 was performing acupuncture on Sun Jingyi's body, so he could naturally feel the energy draining from Sun Jingyi's body. The speed at which it was draining was getting slower and slower. This wasn't a good sign. It meant that Sun Jingyi didn't have much qi left, and at this rate, it wouldn't be long before she ran out of energy. He nodded, took out another energy pill, and stuffed it into Sun Jingyi's mouth. But something like an energy pill could only be taken in a short period of time. Taking it twice was fine, but the third time would not have much effect. Even the second time was far less effective than the first time. Sun Jingyi screamed again. She felt that her consciousness was getting blurrier, and the pain in her body was not as painful as before. If it wasn't for the fact that Sun Jingyi was afraid that if she fainted and stopped the incantation, she would definitely have fainted. However, this willpower kept her persevering. She did not dare to fall as she waited for 11's acupuncture to end. Was she going to die? Sun Jingyi felt as if she was about to float. Her soul seemed to have returned to the past, to the bar where she had first met Lin Yi. She recalled how she had joked with him and wanted to be half his lover. She recalled the interesting scene when she had a meal with Wu Qintian and Lin Yi. She recalled how Lin Yi had helped her solve her business problems. She recalled how she had helped him heal. All of this flashed before Sun Jingyi's eyes like a movie. Chapter 3032. There was a typo in yesterday's chapter. It has been corrected. Summon monthly ticket. The two weren't officially in a relationship, but thinking back to the past made Sun Jingyi feel very warm. Lin Yi saw his Cherokee from afar. Parked not far from House Sunday, Lin Yi patted the purple lightning beast hard. Foam, faster, it's the final charge. Roar, roar, roar. The purple lightning beast roared and charged over. Qintian and Huahayun heard the beast's roar and got out of the car, shouting excitedly, "Boss, you're here." "How's Jingyi?" Lin Yi asked urgently. "Inside. There's still movement." Qintian's eyes were red from anxiety, seeing that Lin Yi was here. He wanted to charge in with Lin Yi. "Okay." Qintian, Xiaoyan, right? "After we go in, I'll take care of the Sky Class early phase peak, and you two will hold off the Sky Class late phase peak. Xiaoyan, you're one level lower than him. You should be able to hold him off for a while, right?" Lin Yi ordered. "Okay, no problem." Huahayun nodded. He might not be able to handle a Sky Class late phase peak, but he was confident that he could hold him off for a while. He wouldn't be killed instantly. Lin Yi nodded and charged into House Sun on the purple lightning beast. The commotion outside was naturally heard by Little One and Little 11. Little One frowned and said to Little 11, "Little Shimmy, continue, don't worry about it, I'll handle it." "Okay." Little 11 nodded. She knew that Taganlong's treatment wasn't over yet, and she couldn't be distracted. But when Little One saw Lin Yi charge into House Sun on the purple lightning beast, he couldn't help but frown. Why was Lin Yi here? When Lin Yi saw Sun Jingyi covered in silver needles, her face pale, and her mouth bleeding, Lin Yi was completely enraged. Especially when he saw the person torturing Sun Jingyi, Lin Yi trembled. Little 11, Lin Yi remembered this person's name deeply. Lin Yi once swore, one day he would make Han Jingjing kill this person with her own hands. But before Lin Yi could find her, she appeared in front of Lin Yi again. And she even did it to Sun Jingyi. At that time, Lin Yi wanted to use the Raging Fire 8 trigram palm to kill Little 11. However, rationality stopped Lin Yi from doing so. It wasn't that Lin Yi was afraid of Five Elements sect and didn't dare to kill Little 11. Even Old 6, Old 7, and Old 12 died in the hands of Lin Yi, or people related to Lin Yi. What was there for Lin Yi to be afraid of? But Lin Yi wanted Han Jingjing to kill Little 11 with her own hands to relieve the hatred in her heart. It would be too easy for her to be killed in an instant. Lin Yi had to torture her until she couldn't stand it anymore, and then kill her. Lin Yi hated this opponent even more than the ones he had faced in the past. Towards Zhong Pingliang, it was just ordinary hatred. But towards little 11, when Lin Yi saw her, he couldn't control his emotions. Seeing the large pile of silver needles on Sun Jingyi's body and little 11's acupuncture technique, Lin Yi was slightly stunned. There was a familiar feeling. Wasn't this the 9 Fuxi needles? Could it be that the method to use his heaven-level divine weapon was little 11's and was stolen by the strange man? The more he thought about it, the more likely it was. A sneer flashed across Lin Yi's mouth. Didn't you like to use the 9 Fuxi needles? Well, then I'll let you have a taste of the 9 Fuxi needles. The 9 Fuxi needles, when infused with true qi, could save people and also harm people. Good and evil could be determined in an instant. However, the method of saving people had been lost, so only harm was left. Infusing true qi into the silver needles and then inserting them into the opponent's body could cause the opponent incomparable pain. Lin Yi directly pulled out all the silver needles on Sun Jingyi's body. There was no authentic 9 Fuxi needles, but Lin Yi found that the silver needles used by little 11 were not ordinary silver needles. They seemed to be imitations of the 9 Fuxi needles. Little 11, right? Don't think that you're the only one who knows how to torture people. Lin Yi sneered and said fiercely, "Hand over your life." Sun Jingyi was already on the verge of death. She thought that she would never see Lin Yi again, but when she suddenly heard little one shout, she opened her eyes and saw Lin Yi riding the purple lightning beast. She immediately felt that it was a little unbelievable. How did Lin Yi know that she was in danger? And the two of them were heaven stage experts, and they were the 2 people who had forced Lin Yi to the point where he couldn't fight back. How did Lin Yi dare to appear here so openly? Wasn't he afraid? Moreover, he actually said such ruthless words to little 11. Hand over your life? At this moment, Sun Jingyi was incomparably excited. She suddenly remembered something that Zixia had said on TV. The one I love is a hero of the world. One day, he'll wear a golden armor and ride on a rainbow cloud to marry me. Although Lin Yi did not step on colorful clouds, he was riding the purple lightning beast. He was like a prince riding a white horse in a fairy tale. Damn it! Little one did not expect Lin Yi to make a move as soon as he came up and snatch away her silver needles. Her attention had been focused on the acupuncture. How could she have known that Lin Yi was not targeting her or little one, but the silver needles on Sun Jingyi's body? Little one's expression also became stern. Lin Yi had disturbed Tag and Long's healing, which made him anxious and angry. He wanted to deal with Lin Yi, but at this time, Hua Xianyan made his move. Hua Xianyan was a heaven stage, late stage expert, and was also someone who was nurtured by an ancient sect. Therefore, although his strength was weaker than little one's, he had no problem dealing with him. At the very least, with little one's strength, he would not be able to kill Hua Xianyan instantly. Although little one was a little annoyed by the sudden appearance of a heaven stage, late stage expert, he had no choice but to brace himself and deal with him patiently. He wanted to kill Hua Xianyan in one go, but it was not realistic. The most annoying thing was that little one's divine weapon was not with him, but in the car. In his eyes, there was no need for a divine weapon to deal with the Sun family. His role was to help little 11 look after Tag on Long. Who would have thought that Lin Yi would bring a heaven stage, late stage expert with him? Where did this person come from? Little one did not have a heaven stage divine weapon, but Hua Xianyan did. He held a palm leaf fan in his hand, and true qi with flames rushed out from the palm leaf fan, burning towards little one, causing him to groan inwardly. Chapter 3033. Just when Fuming Cloud and Yi were in a stalemate, Lin Yi raised his hand, and the 9 Fuxi needles imbued with Lin Yi's sky-class chi shot towards 11. 11 thought that Lin Yi pulled out all the needles from Sun Jingyi's body to save Sun Jingyi. She didn't think that Lin Yi could also use flying needles, and the Fuxi needles at that. However, it was too late for little 11 to dodge. The 9 fushi needles were all inserted into little 11's acupoints, and Lin Yi's chi was also sealed in little 11's acupoints. Lin Yi's method was similar to the one he used on Zhao Yaowang, but the needles he used weren't good ones, and the chi didn't follow any rules either. But now, these were the fushi needles, and they were specially used. Elder Bai could easily remove the needles from Zhao Yaowang's body, but 11 couldn't remove the needles herself. If she tried to pull them out, the chi would explode and leave a bloody hole in her body. The holes weren't enough to take 11's life, but the places where the needles came from were very dark. Chest, abdomen, lower body, buttocks, all of them were pierced with needles. Of course, if the needles exploded, 11 could use a great restore pill to heal them. It would just be a little more painful. However, all the meridians in 11's body were filled with silver needles. It could be said that there was a needle in every part of 11's meridians, and even his dantian had 2 needles. If he wanted to remove these needles, his meridians and dantian would be blown to smithereens. If that happened, she would have to force the Sun Clan to heal her. Otherwise, she would be a cripple forever. Otherwise, she would let these needles stay in her body forever and be a hedgehog for the rest of her life until she found a way to cure it. But if she was crippled, who could use the secret technique? The secret technique could only be activated with the fushi 9 needles. In the 5 elemental gate, the only one who knew how to use the fushi 9 needles was herself. Hence, thinking of the tragedy he was about to face, the 11th almost burst into tears. His chest and buttocks had exploded. His meridians and dantian had also exploded. That medicinal pill was useless and couldn't resolve it. Wouldn't he become a disgusting person with holes all over his body? If it was someone else, even if Lin Yi wanted to kill the enemy, he would not use such a cruel and vicious method. After all, this was torturing the enemy to death. Pulling out a silver needle was painful enough. Whoever tied the bell should untie it. Only a cultivator who knows how to use the 9 fushi needles and is stronger than the one who used the needles would be able to neutralize it. However, her meridians and dantian were all pierced with silver needles. Once she used the incantation, the true chi on the silver needles would explode, so she didn't dare to use the incantation. He could only watch helplessly. She clearly had the ability to resolve it, but she couldn't. Thinking of this, there was a flash of horror in the 11th's eyes. She looked at Lin Yi and gasped for breath. Her eyes were spewing flames of anger. Impossible! Impossible! How can you use the 9 fushi needles? Quickly resolve it for me. Otherwise, I will ask my father to kill your whole family. Oh, I am an orphan. I only have one adoptive grandfather. Lin Yi shrugged. Then I will kill your grandfather. The 11th roared hysterically, "Oh, go ahead as long as you can find him." Lin Yi curled his lips. In his heart, he couldn't wait for ancestor Xianxin to go to the West Star Mountain Village. He probably wouldn't be able to come back. Kill my grandfather? If my grandfather could come out, you would be dead. The 11th didn't expect Lin Yi to be so indifferent. She didn't know what Lin Yi was thinking. She thought that Lin Yi was certain that she couldn't find his grandfather. So she roared, "Lin Yi, you resolve it for me. Eldest senior brother, and I will leave immediately. How about it? We won't look for trouble with you." TSK, are you stupid? Lin Yi looked at the 11th mockingly. The silly girl I know is stupid enough, but compared to you, she is the smartest. You are not just stupid, you are brainless. You won't look for trouble with me? It's obvious that I don't want to let you go. The 11th panicked. "Eldest senior brother, help me kill Lin Yi." Just as little one was about to speak, he was distracted and was hit by Fuming Cloud's fan. Although little one managed to dodge it, the flames still burned half of his face, burning off half of his hair. He immediately had an yin-yang haircut, as if he had gone to the barber's and left after shaving half of his head. This made little one not dare to be distracted. Although he was worried about the 11th, Fire Cloud didn't give him any chance. 11 was arrogant and tyrannical, but he could see that Xiao Yi was in a difficult position. He and Huohu were evenly matched, and while it was obvious that Xiao Yi was stronger, Wu Qintian was on the side, and Xiao Yi couldn't defend himself. Qintian was only an Earth-class late-phase peak, but his Iron Fist arts was no joke. He couldn't injure Little One internally, but he could at least make Little One stumble. This gave Fire Cloud a chance. The two worked well together, and Qintian always sneakily attacked from behind. He never stopped punching and leaving, not caring if he hit or not. This made it impossible for Little One to lock on to Qintian's position, so Little One decided to just ignore him. The moment he went to find Qintian, Fire Cloud would definitely attack him with his fan, catching him off guard. This was the most frustrating fight Little One had ever fought. When he fought against Lin Yi, he was so strong that Lin Yi couldn't even fight back. But now Lin Yi was torturing 11 to death, and he couldn't do anything else. 11, how is it? Does it feel good? Actually, the best is yet to come. Lin Yi looked at 11 coldly. Lin Yi's silver needles were just the appetizer. Looking at Sun Jingyi, who had fainted on the ground, Lin Yi's heart was filled with cruelty. Lin Yi wasn't someone who liked torturing people. Most of the time, he dealt with his opponents by killing them, but this was the first time Lin Yi had the urge to torture someone to death. Chapter 3034. Little 11 regretted not mentioning it when Lin Yi came. If she had been slightly more vigilant, channeled her Jinqi to protect her body, and dodged, it would have been difficult for those silver needles to pierce her body. Even if there were some that managed to pierce her body, there wouldn't have been so many of them. She was like a hedgehog, and if she were to pluck out a few silver needles, a minor revitalization pill would probably be enough to solve the problem. But now, Xiaofeng, there's a lightning rod here. Do you think she would feel good if lightning struck down at this moment? Lin Yi confirmed that Sun Jingyi had only fainted and her life was not in danger, so he continued to think of ways to torture little 11. Roar, roar, roar. After hearing Lin Yi's words, the purple electric beast immediately understood what was going on and laughed wretchedly. Little 11 didn't know what Lin Yi was talking about. What lightning? It wasn't raining on a sunny day, so how could there be lightning? However, she knew that Lin Yi wasn't saying anything nice, and it couldn't be nonsense. Although she didn't understand what he was saying, at least the spirit beast beside him could. What do you mean? However, just as little 11 asked, a bolt of lightning shot out from the purple electric beast's horn and hit the silver needles on little 11's body. The purple electric beast obviously understood what Lin Yi meant. The electric current was controlled to a very weak range. It couldn't kill, but it could cause extreme pain. Of course, even so, an ordinary person would be electrocuted to death. However, little 11 wasn't an ordinary person. He was a cultivator. Roar. Little 11's body trembled and let out a shrill scream. The lightning hit the silver needles and formed an electric net. Through the silver needles, it continuously shocked various parts of little 11's body, especially those sensitive parts. It made little 11 want to die. He started to break dance on the ground. The electric current that the purple lightning wind beast emitted was endless. This electric current was small, so it could be used continuously for a long time. It wasn't like a big move which could be released in an instant and then had to wait for a while to recover. Even though little 11 was a cultivator, it was not easy for him to endure the continuous tapping. The parts of her body had already started to emit green smoke, and the parts of her body that were pierced by the silver needles had also started to gradually turn black. Ah, ah! Little 11 writhed in pain where the electric current had struck. Little 11 wanted to reach out and grab the needle, but he didn't dare to do so. He was afraid that he would accidentally drop the needle, and the Jinqi inside it would explode. She could only dance like a water snake, She wanted to fall to the ground, but she didn't dare. Afraid that she would accidentally drop the silver needles, she could only stand there in pain, suffering. Doesn't it feel good? Linny looked at Lil 11 with interest. Who doesn't know how to torture people? Ah, Lin E. Please let me go. I was wrong. I shouldn't have tortured your woman. Little 11 finally couldn't take it anymore. He began to beg for mercy. Little one's face became very ugly. Little 11's painful voice made him extremely anxious. However, there was nothing he could do to help. He hated Lin E. and wanted nothing more than to tear Linny into pieces. Linny, what's wrong? Little 11's scream actually woke up Sun Jingy. It was obvious how earth-shattering her voice was. Nothing. Let this bitch have a taste of being pierced by someone else. Lin E said indifferently. There was not the slightest bit of sympathy in his words. He turned a deaf ear to Little 11's cry for help. Sun Jingy smiled slightly, looking at Little 11's painful appearance. A satisfied smile appeared on her face. Just now, all the pain on her body was returned to Little 11 by Lin E. And it was even worse, giving her a taste of her own medicine, but it was returned 10 times, 100 times. At this moment, Sun Jingy felt very relaxed. Lin E really avenged her, but she really couldn't figure out where Lin E found such a powerful helper, Burning Cloud. Lin E, I won't let you go. Little 11's begging for mercy was not successful, so he began to speak ruthlessly. Oh, Lin E responded indifferently. Did you hear me? Ow. Little 11 saw that Lin E did not move after saying, oh, and suddenly became a little angry. She was not afraid of Lin E bickering with her. What she was most afraid of was Lin Yi's indifference. No matter what she said, Lin E seemed to not hear it at all. This made her feel as if she had punched cotton, and there was a deep sense of powerlessness. I heard you, but I won't let you go. Same here. Lin E said indifferently. Do you know why I didn't kill you directly? I deliberately kept you alive, waiting for the next time we meet, to torture you again. You will die a horrible death. Little 11 glared at Lin E fiercely. If looks could kill, then Little 11 would have killed Lin E. Lin E laughed. When you torture others, have you ever thought that you will also die a horrible death? Little 11 was anxious. If Little 11 went on like this, she might really be tortured by Lin E. Although Lin E said that he would not kill her, death was not the most terrible thing. Little 11 gritted her teeth and had no choice but to use a secret technique. This secret technique was brought down from the Archean level by the Five Elements sect and the everyday sect. It greatly damaged one's strength and could forcibly increase one's strength by 1 level in an instant. However, the higher the level, the more limited the duration. Moreover, after a period of time, Little 11's strength would suddenly fall to Heaven's stage, and she would need to recuperate for a period of time to recover. But at this time, he could not care so much. He had to defeat Humingyun and then deal with Lin E. Even if he killed Lin E, he had to make a move. Otherwise, if Lil 11 was tortured to death, Ancestor Xianchen would probably blame him when he returned. Archean inheritance, blessing. Little One suddenly roared, and in a split second, the black robe on his body suddenly swelled up, filled with true energy, and his strength, in this instant, also experienced a qualitative leap. Although Little 11 was already an expert at the peak of the late stage of Heaven's stage, it was impossible for him to reach the heavenly Tao even if he increased his strength by 1 level, because this secret technique could not allow him to cross that super barrier. However, it could allow the current Little 11 to have the strength and power of a divine weapon. Chapter 30-35. Hua Shouyun's eyes froze, and a look of disbelief flashed across his face. Why did Little One's strength suddenly increase so much? And Lin Yi's heart skipped a beat. Not good. Little One seemed to be using some secret technique. In fact, Lin Yi's torture of Little 11 seemed complicated, but it happened in the blink of an eye. It only took a few minutes. Lin Yi wanted to start compressing chi bombs to help Hua Xiuyan deal with Little One after torturing Little 11 a few more times. But what Lin Yi didn't expect was that Little One's strength would suddenly increase to an unbelievable level. Lin Yi didn't care about Little 11 anymore and turned to Little One warily. At this moment, Little One's palm was aimed at Hua Xiuyan. Go to hell, Tornado World! Facing Chen Tian's sneak attack, Little One didn't care anymore. He just wanted to get rid of Hua Xiuyan first. Hua Xiuyan had dealt with the heaven-earth tornado before. He had used his own martial technique, Prairie Burning Sparks, to resolve it easily. But this time, when Hua Xiuyan used Prairie Burning Sparks and used it together with the banana fan, he felt that something was amiss. The two fierce martial skills collided with each other with a loud bang. Xiao Wan only took 2 steps back, but Huohoho spat out a mouthful of blood. His entire body flew out and landed heavily on the wall of the courtyard, smashing a large hole in it. Lin Yi's eyes sharpened. He didn't expect Little One to suddenly become so strong. Hua Xiuyan wasn't even a match for one move. Of course, although Hua Xiuyan was defeated by Little One, his life wasn't in danger. He only suffered severe internal injuries. After Hua Xiuyan was sent flying, Little One didn't care about him. He turned around and looked at Lin Yi with a fierce expression. Lin Yi, today no one can save you. You must die. Lin Yi didn't expect Little One to have a secret technique to increase his strength. This was similar to Brother Heibao. Lin Yi's expression could not help but turn solemn. However, Lin Yi also had a backup plan. Little Yi's strength was extremely tyrannical. Lin Yi couldn't rely on Hu Mingyun. Hence, when Lin Yi first entered the Sun family's residence, he made a plan. Come on. Lin Yi wanted to torture Little 11th for a while longer until his true chi bomb was successfully compressed. Then, with the help of the burning cloud, he gave Little One a fatal blow. He believed that after Little One was struck by the true energy explosion, he would definitely be injured. Even if it couldn't do anything to him, it could still affect his movements. This was enough for Fuming Cloud to injure him. But now, Lin Yi could only change his plan. Seeing that Little One was about to execute his strongest martial technique, Tornado Heaven and Earth, Lin Yi's heart went cold. Lin Yi had tasted the bitterness of this martial technique before. If he really got hit, he would probably die today. Therefore, he hurriedly ordered the purple electric tempest beast, Xiaofeng, don't worry about me. Kill the Tagan Dragon. Roar, roar, roar. The purple electric tempest beast roared, and the horn on its forehead began to flicker with electricity. It was ready to activate the Tagan Dragon. This was Lin Yi's backup plan. After Lin Yi came to the Sun family's residence, he had many opportunities to kill the Tagan Dragon, but Lin Yi did not do so. Lin Yi was very clear about the importance of the Tagan Dragon. It could be seen from the anger of the Xianqin Patriarch and the fact that Little First and Little 11th ignored Boss Bai's agreement to deal with Sun Jingyi. The Tagan Dragon was extremely important to them. Lin Yi did not kill the Tagan Dragon because he wanted to use it as a last resort to escape. Lin Yi ordered the purple electric tempest beast to kill the Tagan Dragon, just to scare Little First. With the purple electric tempest beast's strength, it was not enough to kill the Tagan Dragon in front of Little First unless Little First gave up on the Tagan Dragon. However, this was impossible. Sure enough, Little First's expression changed after hearing Lin Yi's order. He turned around abruptly and took a few steps forward to block the Tagan Dragon. Boom, boom, boom. A bolt of lightning shot out from the purple electric tempest beast's horn and struck Little First. As for Little First, he took the purple electric tempest beast's attack head-on. He did not dare to dodge, fearing that he would hit the Tagan Dragon if he dodged. Beast, take this. Little First's Tornado World, which he had not activated, was instantly activated at the purple electric tempest beast. A tornado-like energy surged towards the purple electric tempest beast. Lin Yi was a little worried, but the next scene surprised Lin Yi. Although the tornado world looked extremely powerful and terrifying, it only made the purple electric tempest beast take a few steps back and did not do anything to it. It seemed that this purple electric tempest beast had thick skin and flesh. Even a peak late-stage heaven rank expert could not do anything to it. Roar, roar, roar. The purple electric tempest beast seemed to be angry. The horn on its head flashed with a powerful electric current again. Little First did not expect the purple electric tempest beast to not be afraid of being hit. It only took 2 steps back and did not cause any substantial damage. This made him frown. Little First did not expect Lin Yi to target the Taggin Dragon. This was a huge burden, but Little First did not dare to abandon it. Therefore, he did not dare to be in a stalemate with the purple electric tempest beast. He was afraid that Lin Yi would sneak attack the Taggin Dragon from behind. If he turned to deal with Lin Yi, the purple electric tempest beast might strike him with another bolt of lightning. Since he could not kill the purple electric tempest beast, there was no need for Little First to continue fighting. He also knew that some spirit beasts had thick skin and flesh. Even if their strength was low, cultivators could not do anything to them. This was a very common thing in the Five Fiends mountain range. Therefore, Little First made a prompt decision. He picked up Little 11 with his left hand and Taggin Dragon with his right, turned around, and ran. Where there's life, there's hope. If he stayed here and fought to the death with Lin Yi, he might be able to kill Lin Yi, but Taggin Dragon would definitely die. This was not the outcome that Little First wanted to see. If Lin Yi died, Boss Bai would definitely be furious. If Taggin Dragon died, Patriarch Xianchen would definitely be furious. Therefore, Little First chose to retreat very rationally. After all, he was an expert at the peak of the late stage of Heaven stage. His speed of retreat was very fast, and he disappeared without a trace. Looking at Little First's departing figure, Lin Yi was about to praise the purple electric tempest beast, but he saw the purple electric tempest beast spit out a large pool of blood. It seemed that the purple electric tempest beast had suffered a very serious internal injury. It was just pretending to scare Little First. Little Feng, how are you? Lin Yi was shocked and asked quickly. Chapter 3036. Then it used its claws to point at Sun Jingyi on the ground, and Huashaoyan not far away, indicating that Lin Yi should treat them first. Lin Yi nodded. Since the purple electric tempest beast could hold on for a while, Lin Yi naturally had to treat Sun Jingyi first. Placing his hand on Sun Jingyi's meridians, Lin Yi quickly circulated the second level of the art of dragon mastery. Lin Yi's true qi flowed continuously into Sun Jingyi's body. After about half an hour, Sun Jingyi slowly woke up. Seeing Lin Yi beside her, Sun Jingyi felt a little relieved. It seemed that Little 1 and Little 11 were no longer around. She didn't know if they were dead or had escaped, but in any case, the danger had been resolved. However, when Sun Jingyi woke up, Lin Yi's expression didn't improve. Instead, it became even more serious. Lin Yi, what's wrong? Sun Jingyi woke up happily, but when she saw Lin Yi's expression, she was a little puzzled. Jingyi, do you feel that there's something wrong with your bodies? Lin Yi asked. Inside my body? What's wrong? Sun Jingyi looked at Lin Yi with some surprise. In your body, there's true qi that doesn't belong to us. Lin Yi said, this true qi seems to have taken root in your body and is on par with your own true qi. When my true qi entered your body, it turned into 2 parts. One part mixed with your own true qi, and the other part transformed into another kind of true qi. After Sun Jingyi healed Lin Yi, the true qi in her body was the same as Lin Yi's, but it was a different kind. But it didn't belong to her either. Sun Jingyi ran the mantra of the Sun family a little, and noticed that something was wrong. This is that Tagan Dragon's vital energy. Sun Jingyi immediately recognized the source of the vital energy. Tagan Dragon? Lin Yi frowned. It seemed like Sun Jingyi was healing Tagan Dragon. The 11th had used some unknown method to cause the true qi in Sun Jingyi's body to mutate. Thinking of this, Lin Yi asked, "Try and see if you can heal me now. I'll treat Hua Yun first, then you can tell me what's going on." "All right." Sun Jingyi nodded and began to run the mantra carefully, checking the vital energy in her body. The next moment, Lin Yi came to Hua Yun's side and began to heal him. Although Hua Yun was seriously injured, it was not fatal. At this time, he woke up and saw that Lin Yi had healed Sun Jingyi's injuries quickly. He was extremely surprised. From the looks of it, Hao was not exaggerating at all. He knew very well how serious Sun Jingyi's injuries were. She was on the verge of death, but in the blink of an eye, she could stand up. She could move freely. Thinking of this, Hua Yun was suddenly excited and proud of his choice. If he had not made the prompt decision to follow Lin Yi to deal with Lil Yi, then Yang Shuaizhen would have been hopeless. Thinking that Yang Shuaizhen could still be saved, Hua Yun's desire to seek revenge on the everyday sect diminished. After all, the everyday sect was not a weak sect. Instead, it was extremely powerful. Unless it was absolutely necessary, it was better not to provoke them. "Boss Lin Yi, you're really amazing," Hua Yun said quickly when he saw Lin Yi walking over. Lin Yi was slightly stunned. He thought to himself, when did I take in Hua Yun as a follower? This guy really knows how to pull strings. Hua Yun seemed to have seen through Lin Yi's thoughts, so he smiled and said, "Tua Hao and I are sworn brothers. You're Tua Yun's boss, so naturally you're my boss too." So he was introduced by Tua Yun. Lin Yi nodded and did not dwell on this. After all, if Hua Yun had not resisted little Yi for a while today, Lin Yi would not have been able to torture little 11 for so long. Speaking of which, Lin Yi was very grateful to Hua Yun. The two of them did not know each other, and it was only Hua Yun's introduction. It was already very good that Hua Yun could do this. Even if he had an ulterior motive for helping him, he was still a sincere person. "I'll help you heal first. If there's anything, you can tell me now." As Lin Yi spoke, he stretched out his hand and grasped Hua Yun's pulse. "How do you want me to cooperate, Boss Lin Yi?" Hua Yun had not healed his injuries before, so he did not know what to do. "You don't have to do anything. Just wait," said Lin Yi. "All right, I'll need boss's help for this." Hua Yun nodded and began to tell Lin Yi about his background. "Boss, I'm sure you've heard that our Flaming Mountain has sent a disciple to participate in the Sky Elixir Sex test. However, this person is not ordinary. He's the grandson of the Grand Elder of Flaming Mountain, and also a good brother who grew up with me." "Oh, I know. The one you're talking about. Is he called Young Hero Yang?" Lin Yi had some impression of this person. Young Hero Yang was killed by Zhang Naipeo, and Shu had also told him why Hua Yun was looking for him. "You mean you want me to help you get revenge on Zhang Naipeo?" "Yes, his name is Yang Shuaizhen." Hua Yun nodded quickly but said, "There's no need for revenge. The everyday sect is very strong. After fighting with those two just now, I realized that I'm not strong enough. I can't harm you, boss, so I don't have any thoughts of revenge." "Then why are you looking for me?" Lin Yi was a little puzzled. If he wasn't going to get revenge, what else did Hua Yun want from him? Lin Yi really didn't understand. "It's like this, boss. I want to ask you to help me heal Yang Shuaizhen." Hua Yun hesitated for a while before saying his goal. "Yang Shuaizhen?" Lin Yi was stunned. "Isn't he dead? Why do you need to heal him?" "Ugh, he's not completely dead yet. He's still breathing." Hua Yun smiled bitterly and told Lin Yi about Yang Shuaizhen's experience. Oh, he's not dead yet. Lin, he was a little surprised. That's possible, but can you bring him here? That, I'm afraid not. I'm afraid that he won't be able to take the long journey. Hua, Hao Yun shook his head apologetically. Boss, can you come personally? No matter what the reward is, as long as Flaming Mountain has it, you can ask for it. We'll definitely satisfy you. Chapter 3037. He should only have 1 year of life left. Huaoyan said, 1 year, that's definitely not a problem. Your Flaming Mountain is located in the Hakuna Mata Desert, right? Lin Yi knew the location of Flaming Mountain. Yes, it's right next to the Hakuna Mata Desert. Huaoyun said, Boss, do you know this location? And I may have to go to the Hakuna Mata Desert for a while. I can find you on the way. Lin Yi said, Okay, that's great. Huaoyun was pleasantly surprised. I'll thank you on behalf of Shui. You helped me a lot today. You don't have to thank me. I'll contact you when the time comes. Lin Yi said, Okay, your injuries have healed. Ah, I've healed. Huaoyun didn't expect that while he and Lin Yi were chatting and laughing, his injuries had already healed. What kind of amazing recovery method was this? Lin Yi seemed to have healed his injuries very easily. Of course, although Huaoyun saw that Lin Yi looked very relaxed, he didn't take it lightly. Lin Yi looked very relaxed, but if it was someone else, they would probably die of exhaustion and not heal others. I've healed. Lin Yi said, If you want to stay here, then stay for a few more days. If not, you can go back today. Okay, I'm not in a hurry. I'll go back with you, boss, and then I'll leave in a few days. Huaoyun said, but he didn't ask why Lin Yi was going to the Hakuna Mata Desert. After all, it might involve Lin Yi. After Lin Yi finished healing Huaoyun, he began to heal the purple lightning beast. After healing the purple lightning beast, Lin Yi was busy healing the Sun family members. Old Man Sun, Sun Jingyi's uncle, these people all needed Lin Yi's treatment. They were busy until the evening before they all recovered. The Sun family members knew that Lin Yi had saved them, so they were naturally grateful. Mr. Lin, thank you so much. Elder Sun prepared a table of banquets, then looked at Lin Yi with a smile. If you hadn't arrived in time, our Sun family would have been in danger. Not only would Jingyi have been killed, but Jingyi's second uncle and I might have died because no one could save us. Old Man Sun is too polite. This is what I should do. Lin Yi smiled. Originally, I wanted to find a good day to talk to Old Master Sun about this, but since I am here today, I will say it directly. Is it about you and Jingyi? This was naturally not a problem. I totally agree. Old Man Sun said directly. Jingyi already said it after she came back. I don't need to worry about her following you. Sun Jingyi blushed, but she was very happy. In fact, when Sun Jingyi came back and told him about Lin Yi, Old Man Sun still had some concerns. After all, Lin Yi already had a few girlfriends. If Sun Jingyi got involved, Old Man Sun was afraid that Sun Jingyi would be at a disadvantage. But now it seemed that Lin Yi was still very reliable. At least when House Sun was in trouble, he could be the first to come. Thank you, Old Man Sun. Lin Yi smiled and said gratefully. This banquet was very harmonious. Wu Qintian and Fire Cloud also came to eat. Old Man Sun, on the other hand, felt a little awkward when facing Wu Qintian. After all, Wu Qintian was Sun Jingyi's former pursuer, and Old Man Sun had tacitly allowed Wu Qintian to pursue Sun Jingyi. But Wu Qintian didn't feel awkward at all. He had lived in Lin Yi's house for a long time, and Sun Jingyi had also lived there for a few days. Their relationship had long changed. Wu Qintian only treated Sun Jingyi as his sister-in-law, and he didn't have any other thoughts. Seeing that Wu Qintian and Sun Jingyi were chatting freely without any awkwardness, Old Man Sun breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that Lin Yi was quite charming. Not only did Wu Qintian give up on Sun Jingyi, but he was also willing to be his follower. Of course, this wasn't all that surprising. When Old Man Sun learned about Fire Cloud's identity as an ancient sect, he was completely shocked. Lin Yi actually had an ancient follower? This was too strong, wasn't it? However, when Old Man Sun learned that Lin Yi didn't only have an ancient follower, but also a local tyrant of the Yellow Earth High sect, he suddenly realized that the distance between him and Lin Yi was getting further and further. The difference between the two wasn't just a little bit, and Lin Yi probably didn't care about the hidden house level anymore. Little One brought Little 11 and Tag On Long all the way. They didn't even have time to get a car. They ran for dozens of kilometers before they rented a car and sped in the direction of the Heavenly Elixir sect. The person who rented the car didn't suspect anything. He thought that Little 11 was receiving acupuncture treatment there, and Tag On Long was also a patient, so he didn't ask much and brought Little One and the others along. In the car, Little One couldn't help but want to call Elder Xianqin several times to tell him about today's encounter, but after thinking about it, he decided against it. It was better to talk about these things in person. Finally, after the torment of the journey, Little One brought Little 11 and Tag On Long to the Heavenly Elixir sect. For the last journey, the rented car couldn't send them off, so Little One could only walk. Along the way, Little 11 remained silent. Although she had survived, she didn't even say a word to Little One, perhaps because she had suffered too much shock and her body was too weak. Looking at Little 11's miserable appearance, Little One secretly planned in his heart. Previously, he had pursued Little 11 because she was the daughter of Elder Xianqin, and also because she was a heaven stage expert with extraordinary strength. But now Little 11 was probably crippled, and there would probably be several holes in her body. She had completely become a cripple. What was the use of marrying such a woman? At this moment, Little One was thinking about how to distance himself from Little 11 in the future. It had to be said that the disciples of Elder Xianqin all had crooked thoughts. If the upper beam was not straight, the lower beam would be crooked. This was also reasonable. Knock, knock, knock. A series of hurried knocks on the door interrupted Elder Xianqin's cultivation. In fact, it couldn't be considered cultivation. With Elder Xianqin's strength, he rarely cultivated. It was more about understanding the heavenly Tao. Although this kind of understanding was actually very ethereal and few people had succeeded before the heavenly island opened, this was the only well-known way to advance to the heavenly Tao, self-understanding. Chapter 3038, 190 votes. Next update, 220 votes. Summon month votes. Who is it? Patriarch Xianqin opened his eyes, a little annoyed. When he was cultivating, he refused to be disturbed. This was his rule. There were people guarding the door, but someone knocked on the door. Patriarch Xianqin was naturally angry. However, the person outside the door did not answer Patriarch Xianqin. Instead, he pushed the door open and entered. Patriarch Xianqin was about to lose his temper, but when he saw the person who came in, he was stunned. Little One? Little 11? What's wrong with you? When Patriarch Xianqin saw Little 11 covered in silver needles, he immediately lost his composure. He suddenly stood up and strode over. This was his biological daughter. Master, when Little 11 stimulated Sun Jingyi and forcefully healed Tag On Long, Lin Yi came. Little 11 silver needles were pulled out from Sun Jingyi's body and inserted into Little 11's body. However, I don't know what's going on, but Lin Yi actually knows how to use the 9 Fuxi needles. Little One lowered his head and said to Patriarch Xianqin in a low voice, 9 Fuxi needles? This is the 9 Fuxi needles? Patriarch Xianqin was stunned for a moment. Then a solemn expression appeared on his face. He stretched out his hand and placed it directly on Little 11's meridians. After a slight inspection, Patriarch Xianqin's expression became even worse. Ancestor Xianxin had also studied the 9 Fuxi needles, but it was not suitable for him to cultivate, so he let little 11 cultivate it. And in the entire 5 elements sect, only little 11 cultivated the 9 Fuxi needles. After all, there was only one set of replicated divine weapons, and only one person could cultivate it. However, the current situation was that the 9 Fuxi needles that Lin Yi used could only be neutralized by someone who knew the 9 Fuxi needles. Moreover, the strength of the person who neutralized it had to be able to suppress the strength of the person who used the needles. However, the 11th couldn't circulate the mantra at all. His meridians were sealed by the Fuxi 9 needles. Once he tried to circulate the mantra, it would affect the true qi sealed by the Fuxi 9 needles and cause an explosion. Dad, save me. I don't want to become a cripple. Little 11, who had been holding back all the way, suddenly burst into tears in front of Patriarch Xianxin. It's all that bastard Lin Yi's fault. Dad, you have to avenge me. Kill him. 11th, I'll think of something. Don't cry first. Patriarch Xuanxin's expression was very gloomy. But Lin, you can't move now. You can't move? I'm already like this, and you still can't avenge me? Little 11 was stunned after hearing this, and looked at Patriarch Xianxin in shock. This time, we touched Lin Yi's woman, Sun Jingyi, to heal Tagon Long. It's not reasonable at all. We relied on pretending not to know what kind of deep relationship Sun Jingyi and Lin Yi have, and played a word game. If we don't touch Boss Bai's disciple, then Sun Jingyi isn't Boss Bai's disciple. Patriarch Xianxin sighed and said helplessly, but in the end, Sun Jingyi is Lin Yi's woman. In this way, Sun Jingyi is also Boss Bai's disciple. Just like in our sect, if you marry a wife and have children, the wife has to call me master, and the children call me grandmaster or great master. This is the customary rule of the cultivation world. If Lin Yi didn't appear, then we could still muddle through it. Now that Lin Yi has appeared, the moment he appeared, what we should do is immediately stop and apologize, not fight him. Now that you have lost the battle, we can't say anything about it. Although little 11 was arrogant, she was not a person with low IQ. After listening to Patriarch Xuanxin's explanation, she also knew that she was not in the right in this matter, but she was unwilling. She liked to abuse people, but she did not like to be abused. Now, she had been abused by Lin Yi, and little 11 still could not take revenge. She was unwilling. Her eyes flashed with infinite hatred like that of a lioness. Master, I think that the most important thing now is not to study Lin Yi, but to save little 11 first, and then see how Tagon Dragon is doing. This is the most important thing now. Little one calmed down at this moment. What was the purpose of them looking for Sun Jingyi? Wasn't it to save Tagon Dragon? They didn't even think about looking for trouble with Lin Yi, and so Lin Yi didn't care about revenge. Although they'd been humiliated today, the bigger picture was more important. He was a person who could yield and stand tall. Otherwise, Patriarch Xianxin would not have nurtured him, the eldest disciple, as his successor. Little 11, take a rest first. I have to study how to solve the silver needles in your body, Patriarch Xianxin said to little 11. Elder Xianxin said to little 11. In fact, although he didn't agree with taking revenge on Lin Yi on the surface, he hated Lin Yi to the bone. He couldn't wait to kill Lin Yi. Now he was going to treat Tagon Dragon. Now he did not know whether Tagon Dragon had recovered or not. Instead, another person was injured, and it was his own daughter. How could Patriarch Xianxin not be angry? Dad, but my silver needles are in my butt. I can't even lie down. Little 11 said anxiously with a sad face. This can't be helped unless I find someone who knows how to use the 9 Fuxi needles, and let him help you solve it. Otherwise, I'm afraid you will be injured by the explosion if I help you pull out the needles. How could Patriarch Xianxin not be worried about little 11? However, he had no other way. There was nothing he could do. That's right, little junior sister. Bear with it first. You don't want to be injured by the explosion, right? Little E also reminded, if your dantian was not sealed, then it would be fine. Master, and I would quickly pull out all the silver needles in your body. It doesn't matter if you are injured by the explosion. Just take a recover pill, then these external injuries can be healed. But your dantian is sealed. You can't refine it at all. Once the silver needles in your dantian are removed, your dantian will also explode. After hearing this, little Eleven's face suddenly flashed with a sad look. Previously, she was still excited that Lin Yi's dantian was destroyed and he was poisoned. In the blink of an eye, it became her who was at her wit's end. The most infuriating thing was that she had the ability to resolve the 9 fushi needles on her body, but because her meridians were sealed, she could not use the mantra. Okay, Dad, big senior brother, then help me think of a way as soon as possible. This can't go on. Little 11 said, helplessly. Patriarch Xianchen nodded and did not say anything else. Instead, he walked to Tag and Dragon's side, squatted down, and carefully checked Tag and Dragon's condition. Chapter 3039. Is that so? Master, Tag On Long has recovered? Little One was also pleasantly surprised. Tag On Long was the key figure in that plan. Without him, he and Patriarch Xianchen would not be able to advance to the heavenly Tao and return to the primordial level. And it seems like the Sun family's mantra is really extraordinary. Patriarch Xianchen nodded and said, Little One, take Tag On Long to rest now. Give him a small rejuvenation pill, and he will probably wake up tomorrow morning. Yes, Master. Little One nodded and took Tag On Long to rest. After Little One and Tag On Long left, only Patriarch Xianchen and Little 11 were left in the room. Patriarch Xianchen turned his head and looked at Little 11 with a sigh. Some things were not easy to say in front of Little One. After Little One left, Patriarch Xianchen said, 11, there's nothing I can do either. I can't cultivate the 9 needles of Fushi, so I can't help you resolve the true qi in it. Ah, then what about me? Won't I be like this for the rest of my life? Can I lie down and rest? Little 11 turned pale with fright, and his voice became hoarse as he yelled, Dad, you have to think of a way. There's no way. Patriarch Xianchen shook his head. Unless Lin Yi helps you, then let him help. Okay? We'll give him what he needs. Doesn't he want the qi gathering pill? We'll give him a few more, and let him save me. Okay? Little 11 said anxiously, there's a saying that goes, to take something, you must first give it. Let's give him benefits first, then wait for him to save me before we kill him. Okay? Little 11. Patriarch Xianchen suddenly shouted, Stop fooling around. Give Lin Yi the qi gathering pill. He's already an early stage heaven stage expert. If we give him a few more qi gathering pills, he'll directly advance to the peak of the late stage. At that time, who can kill him? Unless a large group of experts besieged him. Besides, would Boss Bai be willing? Would he watch as a large group of experts besieged Lin Yi? This Little 11 immediately shut his mouth. After a long while, he said pitifully, Then what should I do? I'll help you slowly pull out the silver needles. Don't think about your meridians and dantian. It's fine if you don't want them. You can just be an ordinary person. As for the injuries on your body, they won't kill you. I'll treat you. Although it's impossible for you to recover to your original state, no one will be able to see you wearing clothes. Patriarch Xianchen was actually very indignant, but some things couldn't be resolved just because he was indignant. Ah, in that case, wouldn't I become a cripple? How would I be able to marry eldest senior brother then? 11th was shocked and hurriedly asked, There's no need to think about marrying Little Li. You've lost all your strength and become a cripple. There's no way he'll marry you. Patriarch Xianchen waved his hand and said, In the future, he will set foot on that level with me. As for you, you must stay here. I can't guarantee that I can bring you to Heavenly Island, but in theory it's impossible, so I'm going to marry you to another disciple of mine, who I'm more optimistic about. Who is it? Is he handsome? Little 11 asked quickly after hearing this. In fact, she didn't have much feelings for little E. She was a person like Patriarch Xianqian. She was cold and vicious. Kong Ming, you should have met him, Patriarch Xianqian said. Ah, I got it. All right, then it's him. Little 11 was overjoyed. Kong Ming was a real handsome guy. He was handsome and elegant. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to charm Xiao Fun. He came to the Heavenly Elixir sect and seduced Little Peach easily. This was enough to show that Kong Ming had the potential to be a pretty boy. Therefore, when Little 11 heard this name, she agreed without thinking. However, Little 11 was a little puzzled and said, "By the way, isn't Kong Ming engaged to Little Peach of the Heavenly Elixir sect? I can't be the little one. I have to be the big one. Don't worry about this." Moreover, Kong Ming has already broken off the engagement with Little Peach. The two of them aren't suitable. Kong Ming's character is similar to yours and mine. He's sinister and vicious. It's not suitable for Little Peach to be with him. The two of them don't have anything in common. Patriarch Xianqian waved his hand and said, "On the other hand, the two of you should have a lot to talk about together. So, I'm going to matchmake the two of you." "That's great. It saves me the trouble of thinking of a way to poison Little Peach to death," Little 11 said, happily. "However, although you are my daughter, I know this disciple of Kong Ming very well. His sinister character is not inferior to mine. You are just ruthless and not sinister enough. I'm afraid that you will suffer in front of him in the future. So, as your father, I want to teach you a set of unique skills." Patriarch Xianqian said to Little 11, "Oh, what unique skill?" Little 11 was slightly stunned. "Unique skills in bed." Patriarch Xianqian waved his hand and said, "Although your appearance is thousands of times better than Little Peach, the scars left on your body are hard wounds. I'm afraid that when the time comes, Kong Ming will lose interest in you. For my sake, he won't break up with you, but he won't touch you either. If that happens, your fate will be very tragic. And this set of skills in bed can allow you to tie down Kong Ming and make him enjoy you so much that he forgets to leave." It had to be said that, from the perspective of scheming, Patriarch Xianqian was still much better than Kong Ming. Kong Ming was unknowingly schemed against by Patriarch Xianqian and his daughter. "Okay, Dad, teach me quickly." Without the skills, Little 11 also calmed down. Next, he would have to rely on Kong Ming to mess with people. Only by locking down Kong Ming's heart could he better help him mess with people. But before that, I'll help you remove all the silver needles from your body," said Patriarch Xianqian. "Okay." Little 11 nodded. Hence, in Patriarch Xianqian's room, there was a pig-slaughtering howl. If one didn't know, they would think that Patriarch Xianqian had killed his daughter. Early the next morning, Taganlong woke up as Patriarch Xianqian had said. Little 11 hurriedly told Patriarch Xianqian the good news. However, when Little 11 saw Little 11 wrapped in bandages like a mummy on Patriarch Xianqian's bed, the corners of his mouth twitched twice. It seemed that the silver needles in Little 11's body had finally been removed, but Little 11 had been blown to such a miserable state. Chapter 30-40. Therefore, Little One instantly lost interest in Little 11. Even if marrying Little 11 could make Patriarch Xianqian value him more, he was not prepared to do such a thing. However, on the surface, he still pretended to be very concerned and said, "Master, how is little junior sister's injury?" "It's all right. Her life is not in danger, but she has lost all her strength." Patriarch Xianqian sighed. and said, "Little one, I have something to tell you. It's about little Eleven's marriage." Ah! Little one was stunned and smiled bitterly in his heart. Patriarch Xianchen was not going to betroth little Eleven to him, was he? That would be F asterisk Ked. It's like this. Little Eleven has lost her strength. I think it's no longer suitable for her to be with you. How could Patriarch Xianchen not see through little one's thoughts? However, he also understood that little one was someone who had set foot on the heavenly way with him. Marrying a useless little Eleven was indeed a bit of a burden. Ah, master, I didn't mean that. Little one did not expect Patriarch Xianchen to say that. Was he testing him? Thinking of this, he quickly waved his hand and refused. Little one, this is not what you want. It's what I want. However, Patriarch Xianchen said, I'm preparing to betroth her to Kong Xiaoming. It should be very difficult for Kong Xiaoming to advance any further. He relied on swallowing medicinal pills to advance. And there's basically no possibility of him setting foot on the heavenly law. If he and little Eleven stay here, it can be considered that the 5 elements sect here will have an heir. I see. Little one thought about it, and it was indeed like this. It was fine as long as Patriarch Xianchen did not blame him, so he nodded and said, That's also a good thing. I'll congratulate little junior sister. Eldest senior brother, don't forget to attend my wedding. Little Eleven smiled at little one. She had also thought it through. Kong Ming was very handsome, and most importantly, he was suitable for her. Although little one was strong, he would definitely go to Heaven Stage Island with his father. Ha ha, of course. Little one smiled and said, At that time, eldest senior brother will definitely give you a big gift. Thank you, eldest senior brother. Eleven's mood was slightly better today. By the way, why did you look for me so early in the morning? Has Tag on Long already woken up? Patriarch Xianchen waved his hand and gestured for little Eleven to stop there. He had checked on Tag and Dragon's condition yesterday, so he wasn't worried. In his opinion, Tag and Dragon would definitely wake up today. Yes, master. Tag on Long has woken up, but his body is still a little weak, so he can't visit you personally. Little one said, Oh, it doesn't matter. I got it. Patriarch Xianchen said, I'll go see him myself later. Okay, master. Little one said, Then I'll go down first. Call Kong Ming over on the way. I have something to tell him. Patriarch Xianchen said to little E. Yes. Little one nodded and retreated. Not long after, Kong Ming came to Patriarch Xianchen's room. He had already broken off the engagement with little Peach. Kong Ming was very happy these few days, but he also heard the news that little one was injured by Lin Yi, so he had to pretend to be sad at this time. Disciple greets master and 11th senior sister, Kong Ming said respectfully. However, when he saw little 11 covered in gauze on the bed, he was still shocked. What's going on? Have the silver needles in her body been pulled out? Only by pulling them out would there be such an effect, right? Thinking of this, Kong Ming couldn't help but laugh in his heart. Little 11 was Patriarch Xianchen's daughter. Now that she was abused like this, would Patriarch Xianchen let Linny go easily? That was obviously impossible. Zhao Ming, your engagement with little Peach has been completely cancelled, right? Patriarch Xianchen glanced at Kong Ming and asked, Yes, it has been cancelled. Kong Ming replied quickly, Very good. In that case, I will be your matchmaker again. Patriarch Xianchen nodded and said, Matchmaker? Kong Ming was slightly taken aback. Master, you mean to introduce me to a partner? That's right. Patriarch Xianchen said, I'm going to let you marry my daughter, little 11. Kong Ming was completely stunned after listening to Patriarch Xianchen's words. Marry little 11? Isn't that the mummy on the bed? Kong Ming heard that after little 11 silver needles were pulled out, her whole body would be full of holes. Moreover, little Eleven's strength would be lost and she would be a useless person. If Kong Ming Ming married her, she would be worse than Little Peach. Although Little Eleven's face was prettier than Little Peach's, if he took off her clothes at night, Little Eleven's body would have big holes and small eyes, or only half a butt or half a chest. Wouldn't that scare him to impotence? Why? Kong Ming Ming, you don't agree? Patriarch Xianqian frowned slightly and asked, No, no, I'm just too happy. Kong Ming Ming was shocked. How could he dare to disagree? This was Patriarch Xuanqian's daughter, and Patriarch Xianqian was the matchmaker himself. If he refused, he would probably be kicked out of the house. Therefore, no matter how unwilling Kong Ming Ming was, he could only pretend to be very happy and said, This happiness came too quickly. I can't bear it all of a sudden. I'm stunned. So, you agree? Patriarch Xianqian asked. Parents' orders are like the words of a matchmaker. Master, master, master. Master is like a father. Your arrangement is the will of your disciple. Kong Ming Ming said quickly, but his heart was bleeding. If he knew it would be like this, he wouldn't have asked Little Peach to cancel the marriage. He really regretted it. But what was the use of regretting? Kong Ming Ming could only accept the reality of being married in front of him. All right, since you agree, I'll find a day to hold your wedding. Patriarch Xianqian nodded in satisfaction. Okay. Kong Ming Ming thought, how could I say no? What a scam. Lin Yi, I'll never forgive you. You crippled this piece of trash and gave her to me. One day, I'll definitely kill you. Kong Ming Ming swore in his heart. Lin Yi returned to the villa from House Sun with Wu Qintian and Flaming Cloud. When Meng Yao opened the door, she was slightly taken aback. She didn't expect Lin Yi to be back. When Qintian left the villa, although he didn't say anything, Meng Yao didn't think much about it. After all, Qintian often drove out to buy things. Meng Yao thought that Qintian was back, but when she saw Lin Yi outside the villa, she was surprised. Lin Yi, you're back? Aren't you still at home? Chapter 3041. I'm back. Something happened at Jingyi's house. I came back in a hurry. Let's talk inside. Lin Yi said to Meng Yao. Okay. Meng Yao opened the door, and Lin Yi drove the jeep into the yard, but another car drove in right after. Meng Yao paused. Lin Yi, whose car is this? But just as she finished asking, she saw Chen Tian sitting in the driver's seat. Meng Yan, this is Boss Spoils of War. It's quite valuable. A modified Hummer. Chen Tian quite liked this car. It was quite domineering, but it didn't have as many seats as the Jeep, so it couldn't fit more than a few people. This Hummer was Little E and Little Eleven's car. Lin Yi was angry, so he took the car for himself. In fact, although it was a modified car, it was only a few million. This amount of money didn't mean much to Lin Yi and Qintian. They were happy that this car belonged to Little E. This was a classic case of throwing away a car to save the king. Although the car door was locked, it was nothing to Lin Yi. However, Lin Yi and Qintian didn't know that Little E had put his Sky-class weapon in the trunk of the Hummer, and Lin Yi didn't search for it. Poor Little E, he was waiting for a few days to calm down before sending someone to drive the car back. After all, as far as he was concerned, a locked car on the streets of the common world wouldn't be a problem. On the way, he saw many private cars parked on the side of the road, and nothing happened. But he'd forgotten that he was parked on House Sun's private turf. He could tell with one look that this Hummer with a foreign license plate was probably Xiao Yi's car when he first got here. After parking the car, Meng Yao and Lin Yi walked into the villa together, calling out as they walked, "Shu, Lin Yi's back. Don't you miss him? Come down." "Oh, Shield Bro's back," Yushu said as she ran down the stairs. She had just finished showering and was drying her hair. She was quite happy, but when she saw Flaming Cloud enter the door with Lin Yi, his expression froze for a moment. Fire. Fiery Cloud? Shield Bro, why did you let him in? Yushu hated Hua Mingyun from the bottom of her heart. He's a bad guy. Shu, do you have some misunderstanding about fiery clouds? Lin, he was a little puzzled by Yushu's attitude. Yushu looked like she was crazy every day, but she never messed around when it came to big things. Lin, he felt that there was something wrong with this situation. There's no misunderstanding. This person was barbecuing at the entrance of the villa using martial arts. He's planning to roast Skybolt Pig into a roast-suckling pig. Yushu started framing Hua Haiyun, that second sister-in-law. When did I? Roast-suckling pig. Flaming Firecloud was speechless, but he didn't dare to retort, and could only ask with a wry smile, "All right, Shu, Hua Haiyun was helping out just now. He was heavily injured by a Sky-class late-phase peak master. He's not a bad guy." Lin Yi said to Shu, "Oh." Yushu could only sit on the sofa sullenly after seeing that her defamation of Hua Haiyun didn't work out. "Boss, second sister-in-law seems to have some misunderstanding about me. Hua Haiyun really couldn't understand how he had offended this child-faced girl. He seemed to have been serious from the moment he arrived, right? And he didn't show any covetous look towards her, like some of the other young masters did. There's no misunderstanding. You're the one who's bad." Yushu mumbled. "Shu, stop messing around." Meng Yao glared at Shu as well. "Don't you want to hear Lin Yi's story about his trip to House Sun?" "Of course I do." Yushu loved listening to Lin Yi's stories the most. Every time Lin Yi came back, she would listen with great interest. She could only give up on attacking Hua Haiyun and shut her mouth. Lin Yi smiled. He didn't know what to do with Shu, but with Hua Haiyun here, he couldn't ask too much. He only turned to Qintian. "Qintian, tell Shu and the others about what happened." "Okay." Qintian nodded and told Meng Yao and Yushu everything that happened in detail. Meng Yao and Yushu didn't expect that the Xianqian elder would make a move again, and this time it was against House Sun. Sun Jingyi was Falbert's daughter, and Meng Yao was very concerned about her safety. When Meng Yao heard about Little 11 using needles to torture Sun Jingyi, her face turned red with anger. "Lin Yi, did you teach that Little 11 a lesson after that?" "Haha, just keep listening to Wu Qintian." Lin Yi smiled as he turned to Meng Yao. And so, Meng Yao could only listen patiently, even though she knew that Sun Jingyi was fine. Otherwise, Lin Yi wouldn't be able to come back so easily. But after listening to Qintian's story, Lin Yi gave him a taste of his own medicine, using needles to torture Little 11. She couldn't help but smile excitedly. The miss wasn't a cruel person. In fact, she was very kind, but this time, she was really angry. This Little 11 was the one who tortured Han Jingjing last time, almost killing her, and now it was Sun Jingyi. No matter how kind Meng Yao was, she couldn't tolerate her anymore. Yushu, on the other hand, felt that it wasn't ruthless enough. She interrupted. "Oh, if Shu was here, we'd tie her to Feng's tail and run 10 laps with her." Lin, he couldn't help but smile bitterly. "I want to, but there's no time. If it wasn't for Hua Haiyun stopping Little Yi's attack, I would have had to kill Little 11 immediately. I wouldn't have been able to torture her." Qintian continued the story, and Meng Yao and Shu couldn't help but click their tongues. Luckily, Lin Yi had left Tag and Dragon as a last resort. Otherwise, if Lin Yi had killed Tag and Dragon first, Lin Yi and the others wouldn't have been able to come back. This was something Lin Yi had no other choice. When facing an enemy stronger than himself, he had to find a way out. Otherwise, it would be very dangerous. Of course, if there was no way out, he could only fight with brute force. When Qintian finished his story, it was getting late. Hua Haiyun stood up and said his goodbyes. He wasn't a blind person. He knew that Yushu didn't like him, and staying here would only make things worse. Chapter 3042. After sending Firecloud away, Lin Yi called out to Yushu, who was going upstairs. "Shu, why are you in such a hurry to sleep? Don't you have anything to explain to me?" Oh, I'm going to take a shower. Yushu stuttered. Shower? Didn't you just take a shower? Lin Yi asked as he looked at Yushu's wet hair. Uh, um, I'm actually going to help Yao Yao scrub. Yushu rolled her eyes. Yao Yao hasn't showered yet. I'll go help her. It's fine. I'll be fine by myself. You sit here, Meng Yao said as she pushed Yushu back and went upstairs. She knew that Lin Yi wanted to talk to Yushu about Fire Cloud. Although Meng Yao was curious, she asked Yushu about it before, and Yushu didn't say anything. She could only rely on Lin Yi to ask. Shield Bro, you're leaving Shu alone and chasing Yao Yao away. Are you going to confess to Shu? Yushu looked at Lin Yi with eyes full of love. Pfft! Lin Yi was speechless. Shu, look at you. How is this a confession? You're clearly confessing to me. Okay, Shield Bro, Shu is confessing to you. Yushu heard Lin Yi's words and went along with Lin Yi's words. What do you think of Shu? Can I be your small wife? All right, Shu. Lin Yi's expression turned serious as he looked at Yushu. Shu, although you're good at disguising yourself in many situations, we're too familiar with each other. However, we are already too familiar with each other. You want to lie in front of me. I'm afraid you're feeling a little guilty, right? Okay, Shield Bro, you're amazing. Now that you know, I'll be happy. Then why did you say? Yushu put away her innocent expression and blinked her big, watery eyes at Lin Yi. A little troubled. Shu, why do you hate Fire Cloud? There must be a reason for this, right? Lin Yi stared at Xiao Shu and asked word by word. There is no love without reason in this world, and there is no hate without reason either. You didn't even know him before, so why would you hate him? In fact, until Hu Yaoshuan left the villa, Lin Yi did not mention anything about going to the Hakanamada Desert again. It was also because Lin Yi couldn't figure out the conflict between Xiao Shu and Hu Yayan. Actually, I'm not too sure either. Just as Lin Yi was about to say something, a voice suddenly rang out. Little Shu opened her mouth. Shield Bro, do you still remember? I used to have an engagement, right? Engagement? Lin Yi was slightly taken aback. Yes, it's an engagement between me and an ancient sect. Yushu nodded. HM? Lin Yi thought about it. It seemed like there really was such a thing. But this was a long time ago, before Lin Yi unified the common noble houses. Before the noble house meeting, House Kong wanted to become a noble house, and one of the noble houses had to be eliminated. At that time, people didn't think much of House Qin, but there was a rumor that Yushu was engaged to an ancient sect when she was born. This way, people who wanted to go against House Qin wouldn't dare to do anything rash. Although Lin Yi had heard of this rumor, he didn't think much of it. After all, every noble house would promote themselves before the noble house meeting. It was reasonable for them to make up some lies. But when Shu mentioned it again, Lin Yi remembered. Which ancient sect? I'm not sure, but it should be Flaming Mountain. Yushu lowered her head, feeling a little down. I don't know if it's this Fire Cloud, but I don't want to have too much to do with Flaming Mountain. So that's how it is. Lin Yi realized that he had wronged Shu. She wasn't being unreasonable. She was just trying to resist this so-called engagement. If it were Lin Yi, he wouldn't feel good with this curse on him. Then I'll ask Fire Cloud another day. No. Yushu shook her head. Shield Bro, please don't ask. Oh, what's wrong? Lin Yi frowned slightly as he looked at Yushu and asked seriously, Shu, is there something you're hiding from me? No. Yushu's face froze as she stuttered. No. Lin Yi took a deep breath and decided to have an honest talk with Shu. Lin Yi was a sky class now, and he was no longer the novice he used to be. If Shu had something to hide, Lin Yi wanted to help her solve it and share her burden. He said word by word. Last time, you poisoned my tea and tried to kill me with a knife in the middle of the night. I knew about this a long time ago. Ah, Yushu screamed. her face paling. She didn't expect Lin Yi to know everything, and in such detail. But why didn't he say anything? Why was he so nice to her? Shield bro, you know everything? Then why didn't you expose me and still treat me so well? Shoo, I believe you have your reasons and you are not a bad person. You don't want to kill me, right? Linny smiled and said, so I don't blame you. You poured me tea and you spilled it. You tried to kill me with a knife in the middle of the night, but you couldn't do it, lying to me that you were sleepwalking. Well, okay, I'll tell you the truth, but don't tell Yao Yao sis. She will be worried. Yushu hesitated and said, don't worry, I won't tell her. Linny nodded. Pinky promise. Yushu put out her pinky. Ha ha, okay. Linny pulled Yushu's pinky and said, can you tell me now? I'm not Yu Qian's biological sister. Yushu said weakly. I'm not House Chen's child. I'm an adopted child. Ah. Linny was stunned. He didn't expect Yushu to be an adopted child, not Yu Qian's biological sister. But Meng Yao probably didn't know about this. Then does Yu Qian know? Who else in the Qin clan knows about this? Chapter 3043. Someone else? Who? Lin Yi asked. People from the hidden house you. Poisoning you was actually an order from the hidden house you. Since Yushu had already said it, she might as well just tell the truth. Hidden house you? Linny frowned. This house, if it wasn't for my friend, I would have killed them like a dog. The hidden level is nothing to be afraid of. Why didn't you tell me earlier? Lin Yi was telling the truth. Back then, the hidden house you was a huge monster to Lin Yi. But now, Linny could destroy the hidden house Xiao with a flick of his finger, and the hidden house you could do the same. Whether it was Yu Xing or Yu Yi, they weren't Lin Yi's match at all. If Lin Yi wanted to destroy House Yu, it would only be a matter of seconds. My parents were controlled by the hidden House Yu, or rather, they weren't the ones controlling them. There's a very powerful ancient sect behind them. I'm not sure which sect it is exactly, but I have a feeling that it's not Fiery Mountain. Yushu said, because Fiery Mountain and the hidden house, you don't seem to have much of a relationship. The hidden house you controlled your parents? Lin Yi felt that things were getting more and more strange. Then have you seen your parents? Or do you just believe whatever they say? No. Yushu shook her head. They didn't show me pictures of my parents, probably afraid that something would go wrong, but they gave me a bottle of blood and asked me to do a DNA test secretly. I also took my brother's blood for testing, and the results showed that I'm related to the blood they gave me, but my brother isn't. So, this is true? Lin Yi was shocked. Blood was something that couldn't be faked. If it wasn't, it wasn't. Even if Lin Yi was a practitioner, he wouldn't be able to change these things. Yes, that's why I couldn't help it. They only forced me to do one thing, but they didn't tell me to kill you. Killing you was a later mission, but it was probably the hidden house you's idea. It had nothing to do with the sect behind them. Shu wasn't stupid. Shield bro, after you became stronger, they gave up on the plan. The hidden house you, what role are they playing? Lin Yi had a sudden realization. Yu Xing seemed to be a very smart man. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to make House Yu the #1 hidden house. He was not as stubborn as Old Man Zhao. This could be seen from the fact that he revoked the order to assassinate him. Once things went south, he would give up. A wise man submits to circumstances. However, he had a good relationship with Yu Bing, and he had an old relationship with Yu Ning. If it was any other hidden house's leader, their first thought would be to rope him in, but the hidden house you didn't do that. This also proved that the hidden house you had another backer behind them. This backer was extremely strong, even stronger than Lin Yi, so the hidden house you couldn't choose Lin Yi. This explained Shu's situation. But which ancient sect was behind the hidden house you? Lin Yi suspected for a long time, but he didn't have any clues. It was impossible for Fiery Mountain and Yellow Earth High Sect. The young masters of these two sects were his followers. It was also impossible for the Dark Palace. They wanted to go against him. but Yui wanted to help him. Ice Palace and Snow Valley were also unlikely. As for the Heavenly Elixir sect, it was the Hidden House U's backer. It couldn't be the Hidden House U's backer. Could it be one of the Five Elements sect or an everyday sect? Thinking of this possibility, Lin Yi's face darkened. These were the two strongest existences in the ancient sects, and they had even surpassed the ancient level. But these were all Lin Yi's wild guesses. If it really was the Five Elements sect, or an everyday sect, then Lin Yi should pretend he didn't know anything. Otherwise, if he went to House Yu to help Yushu, the Five Elements sect and the everyday sect might just kill Yushu's parents. They should be the messengers. Yushu said, "Shield bro, let me tell you a secret. Actually, Shu is also an inheritor." What? Lin Yi paled. Yushu's words shocked Lin Yi. Yushu was an inheritor? Should be. I guessed it myself. Yushu said, "The Hidden House you told me that I have to stay a virgin because I have an engagement. As long as I do as they say and get married, they'll let my parents go." Oh, you thought of her as an inheritor from the aspect of being a virgin? Lin Yi asked. Yeah, Xiao Xiao's always like that. Then I thought that maybe the marriage was just a cover, and the real thing I wanted to do was to accept the inheritance. Plus, my body keeps getting hot for no reason. Yushu said, "I told you before, it's the fire poison. House Yu gives me medicine to suppress it, and if I don't take the medicine, my body will heat up and I'll die from the heat. It's similar to Xiao Xiao's symptoms." Lin Yi nodded. He remembered that Yushu's body did heat up before, and she got better after taking a medicine. It was said that it was found outside. Lin Yi didn't pay much attention to it, but now it seemed that Yushu and Xiao Xiao were very similar. Flaming Mountain is the birthplace of the fire element. If you go there, you might really accept the fire element's inheritance. Lin Yi said, "So, you're afraid that Flaming Cloud will find out that you're the inheritor and not the engagement, right?" "Yeah, I don't want to go, but I can't. I can only drag it out one day at a time." Yushu said slowly. "Shu, it's been hard on you all these years." Lin Yi looked at Yushu sympathetic. What kind of girl was this? Her life was in someone else's hands, and her parents' lives were in someone else's hands. She, on the other hand, had to force a smile on her face in order to hide the pain in her heart. She'd been smiling every day, but it was just an act. She looked like she liked to mess around, but she knew everything. She wasn't stupid at all. "I'm used to it." Yushu smiled. "Lin Yi, bro, don't tell Yao Yao sis. I don't want her to worry. She's a person with a lot of things on her mind, and I'm afraid that she'll be sad if she finds out." Chapter 3044. The Miss was indeed the type of person who kept everything to herself. Not letting her know about it was for her own good. "Just call me Shield Bro. I'm not used to it yet." Yushu smiled. "I'll help you find out about Flaming Mountain's inheritance. As for House Yu, I'll find a chance to ask you Bing. Don't worry, since they're asking you to do something, they won't do anything to your parents for now. They're still safe for now." Lin Yi comforted, "But it's not too long until this situation is broken. Once I increase my strength again, I'll be able to kill a Sky class late phase peak in one hit. Then I'll be in charge of everything in the world of practitioners. The rules will also be set by me." Lin Yi had this kind of pride now. From a common noble house to a hidden noble house, Lin Yi had already started to step into the ancient level. In the near future, Lin Yi might stand at the top of the pyramid of the ancient level. At that time, all the ancient sects would be the same as the hidden sections. They would either surrender or be annihilated. Yes, Shu believes that Shield Bro has the strength. Yushu had always trusted Lin Yi. "Let's call it a day. I'll pay attention to this." Lin Yi said to Yushu, "Okay, I'm going to sleep now. I'm so sleepy." Yushu yawned as she wobbled her way up the stairs, back to her usual crazy self. Looking at Yushu's back, Lin Yi sighed. So, Shu had always been unhappy. Her happiness was just a disguise. He went back to his room. Lin Yi called Boss Bai. With so many things happening today, Lin Yi had to talk to Boss Bai. Also, Lin Yi had to ask Boss Bai about Yushu. Why are you calling me so late? You're back? Boss Bai's voice came from the phone. Teacher Bai, I just returned to East Ocean City, but something happened and I need to tell you. Lin Yi said, Oh, what's up? Boss Bai took a sip of tea. Since Lin Yi wanted to talk to him so late at night, it must be something important. Xianchen, he sent Little One and Little Ten to cause trouble again. Lin Yi said, What? They're here again? Boss Bai was surprised at first after hearing Lin Yi's words, and then there was anger in his voice. He made a deal with me before. He won't make a move against you, but he actually dares to break the agreement? Not me, but Sun Jingyi, Lin Yi said. I'm guessing that he's just playing on the edge. He feels that if he touches Sun Jingyi, he's not touching me nor your disciple, and you can't find fault with him. Xianchen, this guy. Boss Bai listened to Lin Yi's words. Thinking of Xuanchen's character, he was very supportive of Lin Yi's guess. Yes, it should be like this. Is Sun Jingyi in danger? What's going on? It's like this. Lin Yi told what happened today in detail. He told Boss Bai everything, treating Tag and Dragon. However, you actually disabled Little 11. I'm afraid Xianchen will not let this matter go. Hearing that Lin Yi and Sun Jingyi and the others were all fine. While Boss Bai was relieved, he also began to worry about Lin Yi. Even without Little 11, will Patriarch Xianchen let me off just like that? He has always wanted to kill me, and it has never changed. Now, he just has an agreement with you, so he hasn't made a move yet. Lin Yi said, That's true. Boss Bai thought about it, and it was indeed the case. So he said, Don't worry, this time it was Xianchen who provoked you first. You only fought back. If they come looking for me, I'll talk to them. And one more thing. Do you know about the inheritor of Fiery Mountain? Lin Yi asked. Oh, Fiery Mountain? They do have an inheritor, but I don't know about the specific progress. Because this matter has always been handled by Xianchen and Little Yi, I have never been in contact with it. Boss Bai said, Oh, so the inheritor of Fiery Mountain is also arranged by Five Elements sect? Lin Yi was slightly stunned after hearing Boss Bai's words. He had guessed that behind House U it might be either Five Elements sect or Everyday, an everyday sect, but he didn't expect it to be Five Elements sect. It must be arranged by Xianchen or Little Yi. They have been in charge of this matter, but why do you ask? Oh, right. You just said that Hua Mingyun from Fiery Mountain helped you to deal with Little Yi. Are you afraid that Fiery Mountain will take revenge? After a slight daze, Boss Bai said, The Five Elements sect doesn't dare to offend the Fiery Mountain. After all, the Fiery Mountain is also very powerful. Although the inheritors are cultivated in cooperation, if the Fiery Mountain is really provoked, it will be very difficult for Xianchen to cultivate an inheritor of the fire element. I see, but I'm not afraid of Xianchen ancestors' revenge. Lin Yi shook his head and said, Little Yi doesn't even know Hua Mingyun's identity, and he didn't introduce himself. I think he just thought of him as my little brother. What I want to ask is, did Fiery Mountain find an inheritor? I'm even more unclear about this. You should ask Hua Mingyun directly. Boss Bai said, Okay, I'll ask him then. After knowing that Xianchen was behind this, Lin Yi decided to ignore it for now. After all, Yushu's parents wouldn't be in any danger before she completely accepted the inheritance, and Lin Yi didn't have the ability to flatten Five Elements sect at the moment. This debt would be settled with them in the future. Bringing Yushu along would just be settling old and new debts at the same time. Master Bai, I have a prescription here. The herbs on it are rather rare. Do you have any? Oh, tell me about it. Boss Bai said, Sealwort. white wormwood, netherworld grass, red withered wood. Lin E was talking about the herbs used to strengthen meridians for the third level of the art of dragon mastery. Old Lin only had a small portion of these herbs. He didn't have the rest, so Lin E didn't dare to recklessly replace them. He could only prepare to look for them slowly. I don't have these things. They are all rare herbs. If you are not in a hurry, I have some seeds that I can plant for you. But it is already winter now. We can only plant them in spring next year. The cycle is a bit longer. Boss Spice said, "You're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.